Garner joining us here at St Mary's Stadium on the South Coast. The home of football on the South Coast, Mike. I'm just delighted to be joined by the fantastic Oscar Bevis. Oscar, how are you, mate?
I'm absolutely delighted. The home of football on the South Coast, that's down to you to say that. I'm not sticking to that one. I've had some great nights here. But normally it's because Chelsea are putting goals in that end and in that end, but there's no goals here tonight, just the ring, and Ryan Garner's ready to do the business, I believe.
We've had a fantastic couple of years with stadium shows. I was catching up with Lee Eaton on the stream yesterday, obviously Ipswich, Doncaster not too long ago, Tottenham as well, and Wembley, the big ones. But nice to be down here on the South Coast, St Mary's Stadium. Ryan Garner, testament to the hard work that he's put in over the last couple of years.
Yeah, I don't think anyone deserves a stadium fight like this more than Ryan Garner. When you mentioned the stadium fights, we have had Ipswich, one that stands out for me in terms of atmosphere, and of course the swing of the fight and the way it ended with Fabio Wardley and Justice Hooney. There's just something special about stadium fights because you've got fans in here who are behind the club, the area, and the person. It generates such a special atmosphere. And Ryan Garner, the hard work he's put in, I was there in 2019 when he weighed in for one of his fights on a Billy Joe Saunders undercard, and he had a little bit of a problem, and he had a couple of shaky years, but he put himself back together, got the weight right, got the training perfect, and now he's just on the cusp of world honour, so he really deserves this.
It's funny you say that, because I've been speaking to Wayne Batten, who's obviously been close with Ryan throughout this whole journey, and they seem almost too confident, which is obviously a credit. Big Thomas Tribe doing a little mic test behind us, but they've stayed true to everything that they've done, the hard work, it's testament to their ability, and he's cool, calm and collected. At what point do the nerves start to creep in?
I mentioned them uncertain couple of years that Ryan had, and one thing they didn't do, which is, like you said, testament to them and the team, is they didn't completely switch it up, completely flip it. They knew he was good enough, they just had to get the little 1% right. At what point do the nerves kick in? Probably when he has a little walkout for maybe the co-main event, looks around and goes, this is real. Maybe when his hands are getting racked and he's watching the show on the TV, seeing the fans filter in, the bird's eye view of the stadium, the nerves will kick in. I don't think it will be yet. I'm not a fighter, I won't know, but there'll definitely be a couple of nerves for Ryan tonight, but good nerves. He's no stranger to fights. He's obviously a stranger to a fight of this magnitude for him, but he's no stranger to fighting inside the ring. He's very good at it. He's a very cool, calm, collected character anyway. He'll be nervous, but he'll be good nerves. He's
called it like a Southampton Rocky story. He's likened himself a little bit to a mini Ricky Hatton. Throughout all of this, without overlooking Michael Magnesi tonight, he spoke about that American dream, which he'll obviously want to achieve at some point. I mean, what an opportunity he's got. A win here tonight without overlooking it, but then you look at the WBC, obviously it's for the interim title, a fight against O'Shaki Foster. He's really got the world at his feet.
He has got the world at his feet, and for this to be a fight that leads in to the American dream is massive. Most people, the stadium fight is your pinnacle. He can win tonight at St Mary's in his hometown, and then it's New York, then it's Vegas, then it's Texas. The American dream's real, and that's the WBC. Let's look at the WBO and IBF. That's Emmanuel Navarrete. This ain't just America, this is potentially Mexico. He wins here, he goes worldwide.
It's funny because obviously stadium fights we try to do, unless they're absolutely massive, in the summer. It kind of tees up a little bit for one of those world title fights in autumn, winter time, and then maybe the stadium packed out come next summer.
Yeah, I think he wins here, he goes to America, does the business. I know we're looking quite far ahead, but we like to get excited. I can see myself back here next summer with this pace completely rammed, packed to the rafters, and Ryan in another big fight. I would be very shocked if this is the last night St Mary's has in the next few years. Ryan Garner's on the cusp of something really, really special. He's just got to make sure he doesn't get carried away about what's next. Forget the American dream, do the business in your hometown in there tonight.
You know what I think makes this even more special is the fact that he is a real die-hard fan. He's been following the club home and away for years and years, supporting those 11 boys on the pitch. He's always said it was kind of a dream in the back of his mind. You don't expect it to be a reality, but he is just a humble bloke, like I say, running through the streets throughout camp, speaking to all the supporters on his way. This is just the real Ryan Garner that we're used to.
Yeah. A lot of boxers like to attach themselves to football clubs, and I get it because it brings support through, but there's been a very select few over the years who you can actually feel that
like
they've got that real affinity to the club. Josh Warrington and Leeds was a perfect example. Darren Barker and Chelsea, for me, was a perfect example. Ryan Garner is a proper Southampton boy. I've seen a lot of videos of him and his boys at home and away games as well. He loves this club. He's not just attached to it, he loves it. And it makes tonight so much more special.
Well, let's talk a little bit about that co-main event. Another Southampton man. in the co-main, Mr. Louis de Saint Edmondson, in a really, really good fight at 175 pounds against Lyndon Arthur. Talk me through this one. The light heavyweight division domestically is absolutely fantastic. Louis, you'll know very well, has had a bit of a hard journey at times. He's had to call for the fights even now, 11 months out of the ring since that loss to Lappin. He doesn't think it was a loss, and he called for Lyndon Arthur. Lyndon took it, obviously, but what a good fight that is in the co-main as well.
Yeah, Louis again is another fighter who had a couple of hard years. He had real problems with his back, and he almost had to adapt his training and adapt the way he was thinking about the sport, and perhaps knuckle down a little bit more than he was. We knew the talent was there. Billy Joe Saunders was banging the drum very early for this man. Mate, it's a brilliant fight. There's so many good fights at 175 pounds, but it's actually making them. And I feel like tonight this could be a real breakthrough for Louis Edmondson. But Lyndon Arthur is a man who has fought at world level. He's no stranger to the ring. He's been dropped, he's got off the deck, he's been in wars, he knows how to knock people out as well. He's a very well-rounded fighter, a bit like a Swiss Army knife type fighter. Louis Edmondson, Lyndon Arthur is probably going to be, I'll take the main event out of the equation, the fight of the night on the card for me. Massive opportunity. Louis Edmondson goes and beats Lyndon Arthur. He goes into huge, huge things.
It's interesting you say that, because obviously Lyndon is no stranger to the big cards, and he's done a lot of stadium shows as well. A win here tonight, I think he's enjoying the fact that he's going to go into a bit of a hostile atmosphere. He's very confident. They both ooze confidence all week, to be honest. Lyndon put out a tweet saying one day kids will be being taught about the Lyndon Arthur jab. But that is Lyndon, right? He is a supremely confident boxer at 175. And we'll want to show that not to write him off just yet.
Yeah, you can't write Lyndon Arthur off just yet. He's had some good wins in the last couple of years, and what he says about that jab is completely true. I've heard it up close on the pads, I've heard it up close in the ring. It sounds like a gunshot. The Lyndon Arthur jab is no myth, it is a real thing, and Louis Edmondson will be aware of that. It's going to be really interesting to see how he kind of takes tonight, Lyndon Arthur, because me and you know him very well. He's a very cool, calm, collected character. Very rarely gets too riled up by things, but he will be walking into the Lions Den against a Southampton man on the cusp of the main event as well. This place is going to be loud, it's going to be bouncing. Might be a few boos when he comes out. Will be really interesting to see when he walks to the ring how he actually feels this occasion. He's been in some big fights, but he is proper up against it in an atmosphere sense tonight.
I've got to ask you, Queensberry have just announced Moses Atauma, the fantastic young heavyweight, against Filip Hrgović. We're expecting the launch press conference not too long away. Talk to me this fight. We kind of expected it after Dave Allen up in Doncaster. What not? Oh, as we potentially have some board officials come through the stream. Hello, son. Talk to me about that. Moses Atauma, Filip Hrgović in the heavyweight division. What a fight.
Yeah, what I really like about this is Filip Hrgović has said, I've been signed to fight Moses Atauma. When I deal with Dave Allen, it will be Moses Atauma. I never want to question fighters' heart or fighters' intent, but a lot of people don't seem to want to be too interested, especially at this stage when he doesn't have a world title, in Moses Atauma. Filip Hrgović is the opposite. He's like, give me Moses Atauma. Let me show to you what I can do. And let me put almost a stop to this noise that we're hearing about a fighter who is just 21 years old. It's going to be a brilliant fight, the biggest test of his career. Jermaine Franklin was a test, but I feel like maybe most boxing experts kind of knew how that would end, and it looks good on the matchup as well. That is an absolute cracker of a fight.
It's funny you say that, and we talk about matchmaking, because a lot of, I mean, on paper, Jermaine Franklin is an absolutely fantastic fight, of course, but when you go through, in fact, hold that thought, we'll come back to you, as I believe Thomas Schreiber, oh no, I'm now being called to continue. All right, well, we can carry on talking about Moses Atauma. I thought Thomas was ready to announce the fight, but Filip Hrgović will give him a real test, Oscar.
Yeah, absolutely. He's going to make him go through moments he hasn't gone through in a professional ring before. Of course, there'll be moments where Moses will be on top and he'll get the chance to tee off and throw his shots in 4s and 5s like he does, but I would be very surprised if he doesn't have to go to the well maybe a couple of times. Filip Hrgović knows how to take a shot, he knows how to kind of invite that pressure and then push the pressure back on to fighters as well. He's going to have to go through things he hasn't seen before and perhaps take shots he hasn't taken before, so it's going to be really intriguing just to see things we haven't seen yet from Moses Atauma. I love this matchup. I think when you look down from number 1 in the heavyweight division to number 10, those two fighters are probably one of the most interesting stylistic matchups. August 29th, you cannot miss that.
August 25, you cannot miss. Anyway, Thomas Schreiber is here to get our first fight of the night underway.
Let's now welcome into the ring, Miroslav Prohaska.
Well, here we go then, bout 1 of the evening, ready to get going. First fighter in the ring and ready to roll.
And now let's welcome into the ring, the undefeated William Birchall.
But a man who will be facing him is 25-year-old William Birchall, 1/3 of the Birchall fighting brothers. Younger brother Leighton coming up a little bit later on, a couple of fights time. William is going to be the first one from that family to kick the evening off. And a stacked card here at St Mary's, Southampton's football ground.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to World Championship Boxing from St. Mary's Stadium in Southampton, England. It is all being brought to you by Frank Warren for Queensberry, along with their great sponsors, Mr. Q Casino, That Prize Guy, Riyadh Season, and Global Next Trade. We get things started with 6 rounds scheduled in the featherweight division. When the bell rings, our referee in charge and scoring the contest will be Mark Bates. Introducing first, fighting out of the red corner, he comes to the ring wearing white with gold and weighed in officially at 125.5 pounds. Coming to us from Ustinad Labeb, Czechia, he brings a professional record of 8 wins, 17 defeats. 6 of his 18 wins come by way of knockout. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Miroslav Prohaska. And his opponent across the ring, fighting out of the blue corner. He comes to the ring wearing silver, blue, and yellow and weighed in officially at 126.1 pounds. Hailing from Morecambe, England, he had a stellar amateur career, becoming a 3-time national champion and European silver medalist, and now as a professional, undefeated. 4 wins, all 4 wins come by way of knockout. Ladies and gentlemen, here is William Birchall.
Gentlemen, when I tell you to break, you take a step back immediately. Keep your punches up. Obey my commands and protect yourselves at all times. Good luck to you both, gentlemen. Touch gloves.
Well, good support here for William Birchall early on into the evening, late afternoon at St Mary's. Fight number 5 for him in there against Miroslav Prohaska of Czechia. And he'll be looking to get straight to business like he has in all of his 4 previous fights. A perfect record for him so far. 4 fights, 4 wins. All 4 of them haven't gone the distance. Welcome to ringside with myself, Darren Rees, and Oscar Bevis. Good evening.
Good evening, Darren. I think this is long overdue after our last commentary stint was plucked off air by audio issues. What a pleasure. St Mary's, bang in the middle of the stadium. No goals here today, just the ring. And, mate, we've got some serious fights today.
Well, good straight left down there from Birchall to kick the evening off. Perfect timing. Straight down the middle it was. And Prohaska just found himself on the canvas out of nowhere, and he gets caught yet again and finds himself on the canvas for the 2nd time in less than 30 seconds. And he looks at his corner and he can't quite believe what's happening here. And the referee, Mark Bates, has seen plenty. And our first fight is done and dusted in under 1 minute.
I didn't have time to finish my introduction.
What were you going to say?
It doesn't matter, because William Birchall has just done the business inside a round, inside a minute. He came out firing with intent. He wanted to put a statement on, and no better statement than to get the job done in under 60 seconds.
Well, I mean, it's a good result for Joe McNally, his trainer. Fortunately, he's also got Leighton Birchall on in a couple of fights' time. Otherwise, from the Rotunda Gym in Liverpool all the way down to St Mary's in Southampton, that could have been one of the quickest away trips he may have ever had.
Yeah, thank God for Leighton fighting in a couple of fights' time, because I think he could have been home for the main event, maybe home for the main card.
Well, congratulations to William Birchall, who's chuffed. He would have absolutely liked it a bit more time in the ring, but here is Thomas Treiber with the official time.
Ladies and gentlemen, here is the official time. 53 seconds of round number 1. Our referee, Mark Bates, waves off the contest. Therefore, your winner by way of technical knockout and still undefeated, William Birchall.
Well, William Birchall practically gets it done and dusted in 30 seconds. Job done. And there's a big smile on his face there. And that may well be one of the quickest fights that we've seen in a very, very long time. As the eldest of the Birchall brothers stands and poses for the pictures. No mucking around. They're going to have to really start looking at the way that they match this man up now, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. When you have that amateur pedigree, we want to look at how you can turn that into success in the professional ranks. He's got the smaller gloves on. It's a stoppage inside 60 seconds. That's 5 fights, 5 inside the distance. All good so far, but let's see how he's matched in the next 4 or 5 fights, how he's matched for the remainder of 2026, if we can see some more rounds and just find out a little bit more about William Birchall. There is no doubt, though, this man is a very, very talented fighter. It's
going to be tough, actually, to get opponents to say yes. I mean, whether they've watched the fights or not and seen the opponents, and regardless, you look at the record, 5-0, 5 KOs, and it's going to be a problem to get those away corner fighters to agree to come and fight him. But after no time in the ring at all, he's with Charlie to catch a word. So over to him.
Very happy with that.
Before I get into it, I want to say one thing. It's Father's Day. Take nothing away from the lads in the gym. I've had 5 years out the ring. Give me another 5 or 6 more fights. I promise you, all you featherweights are getting knocked the fuck out.
What can we expect from your brother in a couple of fights?
Yeah, listen, he's a boxer tricks, me brother Boo, you know, he's special talent, and you're going to see another performance like that.
Well, congratulations on another fantastic win.
Very much. Thank you very much.
Good man.
Say, listen as well, thanks for everyone coming down to Southampton. It's a mission and a half, 6 hours from mine. Everyone that come out and watch, thank you very, very much.
Well done, mate. Joe McNally in the corner as well. Be very, very. And we get Oscar Bevis back in. He don't get paid for overtime. He is absolutely buzzing. And good on him. He spoke about Morecambe Football Club. I had them both on yesterday after the weigh-in. Yeah, really, really good.
Yeah, really impressive. Like you said, you don't get paid for overtime. Just a straight left down the pipe. Business done. Yeah, there's not much I can say. I didn't even finish my introduction on commentary before we'd put him on the deck. Impressive performance, 5 fights, 5 knockouts. I was just saying this on commentary. We want to see how your amateur pedigree translates to the professional ranks. Right, the gloves are smaller. You fought 5 times. You stopped 5 men. So to me, that's a good sign. Let's match him nicely for the rest of 2026. And when he's around that 10-0 mark, I'm sure we'll be looking at titles.
That's exactly what he just said. 4 or 5 more fights, and just give me anyone. They've spoke about Morecambe, Queensbury shows, in stadiums. I mean, that's the one. Him and the brother headlining on a big, big bill. And there's some good other fighters from that part of the world as well.
Yeah, Morecambe's home to a couple of decent fighters. I don't think I need to give anyone too many clues on that one. There's 3 Birchall brothers. Can you imagine a fight at Morecambe when they're all perhaps a little bit further into their professional career, kind of deep into that title level? Can you imagine the 3 of them at Morecambe, a big night, packed out, all their friends, all their family. Mate, it'd be special.
Well, what a win that was. You didn't have much chance to commentate. Let's talk a little bit more about the rest of the card later on tonight. We see Charlie Senior, another Olympic bronze medalist, 2 Olympic bronze medalists on this card, and Brian Peters managed Taylor Bevan. Obviously they've worked with Matchroom, the South Coast boy gets an opportunity, sold a lot of tickets I've heard, but everyone's talking about him. Adam Elanian, what a prospect the Irish heavyweight is. He's had the Free Arena at Dublin once, he's going to do it again in August, he has this fight here tonight. Just how good can this young Irish heavyweight charge be, Oscar?
He can be brilliant. We didn't get to see too much in his professional debut, and I know he come out and said, look, that's not exactly what I wanted. But sometimes boxing's like that, opponents change at the last minute and you've got to do what's in front of you. You've got to deal with a man who's standing in your way. I've heard great things, I've seen a couple of his amateur fights, watched a little bit of his training. This kid is special, he is lightning quick. And I mentioned before, we love to get carried away. We've mentioned Moses Atalma. I know he's only 1-0, but people do look 5-6 years down the line. If these heavyweights move at the right pace, he will be in some massive fights. And what an amazing thing for Ireland too. Right, a big Irish heavyweight who can potentially fill out that Free Arena. Katie Taylor's going to Croke Park. Why can't there be a big heavyweight fight at Croke Park 8-9 years down the line? Adam Elanian is seriously exciting.
You mentioned Moses Atalma, the other one that they pictured him with ringside at the last fight, Leo Atang. Now I often feel for these young prospects because you sign with a promoter like Eddie Hearn or Frank Warren and they're talking the big names. Leo Atang was at the unveiling of Matchroom's rebrand with Frank Bruno and Anthony Joshua.
No pressure.
Exactly, but how do they deal with the pressure? He seems like a lad who's relishing it. He spoke about Croke Park, Katie Taylor being a fantastic idol for Irish boxing. They're enjoying it as well.
Yeah, I spoke to Leo Atang about this after his last win in Sheffield actually, and he said, I like people telling me I'm very good, but I'm not taking it as my be-all and end-all. People are messaging me online, Eddie Hearn is telling me, my manager's telling me, you're doing very well. But I'm not taking that and flying to the moon with it. I've still got to keep my feet on the ground, train hard and see what happens. Heavyweights normally blossom maybe just before 30 or even into their mid-30s sometimes. So these young heavyweights have got a lot of learning to. There's no need to rush. I know sometimes people will want them in big, hard fights straight away. Let's not get too carried away and let's enjoy the fact that when they do get to these big fights, they're going to be so ready. They're going to have seen and done it all, and it will make them big fights even better and even more entertaining for us.
They are so young as well. There is an element of time. Just do your course, just allow you to flourish. Not everyone is a Moses Atalma. They might well be Moses Atalmas, but you've got to be given a bit of time and breathing room as well.
Yeah, we don't even know if Moses Atalma is the Moses Atalma we think he is yet. We believe he's going to be. A lot of people here will tell you he will beat Filip Hrgovic and go on to be the fighter we think he can be. But give these fighters time, right? Don't put too much pressure on them. It's fine to ask the questions, it's fine to get the pictures, like you mentioned, Leo Atang, Anthony Joshua, Frank Bruno. It's all good for the Instagram and the profile. It's about what goes on in the ring, so let's not put too much pressure on them. Let's let them do their thing, but when these fights come, let's sit there, rub our hands together and enjoy them, because we have got some seriously talented young heavyweights in this country and in Ireland with Adam as well.
Oscar, someone I've been really impressed with speaking to this week, Charlie Senior. Such a young lad, obviously Olympic bronze medalist. When you speak to him, he just oozes confidence. I find the story fantastic, obviously representing Australia, but out of Bradford, talks about doing that dream down under and fighting there. He signed with Frank Warren, turned over. He's enjoying the program, it's very different. He's got a very good corner of people backing him. I just love the confidence the boy oozes.
Yeah, there's something special about him, about his team, and the way that they kind of feel where he's going to go. I love a fighter who oozes confidence. Sometimes people can mistake that confidence for ego, but if you talk to Charlie like you have been this week and like I have on other fight weeks in the past, you'll know he's very grounded. He just believes in himself. He's got brilliant people in his corner. Again, he's one of them fighters. Let's see how that amateur style translates into the pros when the gloves are smaller, when you're not wearing that yellow vest, then you're not fighting as an amateur. He wants to fight down under. I'm sure Frank Warren is a man who can make that happen. Mate, he's going to have a brilliant career ahead of him.
Well, what an opportunity he has, and what a build tonight is. We spoke a little bit earlier about Ryan Garner, but the man we didn't talk about is his opponent, the Italian, Michael Magnesi. They know each other from being in camp with Michael Conlon years ago. Rounds were never shared. It's been very amicable in fight night, but Ryan has got a tough test in front of him tonight.
It's been amicable, but best believe one thing. I know Ryan Garner, you know Ryan Garner. There is a man who is walking into his hometown and trying to take what he has. He don't like that. Make no mistake about it. He will not let the lone wolf come in tonight and take what he believes is his. He's a very, very good fighter. Lone Wolf is the perfect name. I know you've been saying this on the broadcast all week. To walk into a place like this who are going to be completely against you, other than probably a pocket of family and friends in the corner. He's a really good fighter. I think it's a really good measure of where Ryan's at, right? Sometimes you can get fights for interim belts or eliminators where you kind of know a fighter's going to win and you know it's going to take him to that next level. This is no gimme. Michael Magnesi is a very, very good fighter. Tough test for Ryan. Brilliant matchup, mate. I can't wait for this.
I think there is an element of expectation within Ryan Garner tonight, it being at St Mary's, that he does get the job done. But he doesn't strike me as the type of person to overlook an opponent, despite talking about the American dream and everything. I think all eyes are on tonight. And I think the fact that he knows that he's already soaked up the St Mary's atmosphere. Michael Magnesi's been here more than most. We've seen him on match days, pitch side. We've seen him, obviously, the launch press conference down on the pitch Thursday here. He's already soaked it in. I think he's relishing being the lone wolf.
I think Magnesi's been to St Mary's more than you.
Oh, shut up, mate.
He works Saturdays, I'm sorry. He works Saturdays.
Have a word.
Yeah, look, you can't get carried away with an atmosphere, right? I spoke to Fabio Wardley about this before the Daniel Dubois fight. It had been a year, or almost a year since Ipswich, and I just kind of reflected on the day, and he said, by the way, it didn't even feel like Ipswich when I walked out, because you just cannot get sucked into that. You burn all your energy on the ring walk. You get carried away with everyone singing your name. Oh, Ryan Garner's going to be ringing round here. You get carried away, you get in the ring, the bell goes, and you're loose. You're limp. You've lost all your energy, your adrenaline zapped. You've got to learn to control that. Ryan Garner will not be overlooking tonight, not be overlooking the occasion. I think he knows exactly how to play tonight. At least that's what I believe from speaking to him, and I hope so, because he's a brilliant bloke. He's a brilliant fighter as well, and I think the UK need fighters like him. Pure hard work, pure dedication, and show him what the rewards are.
We've already got the party anthems playing. Southampton.
Good tune.
St Mary's is picking up. We're enjoying the music. Do not blink throughout the prelims. The first fight went in one round. Let's see how this one goes. Let's get to our MC, Mr. Thomas Triber.
We continue with a battle of the undefeated. Let's now welcome to the ring, Sheikh Diop.
Ender is Sheikh Diop, a Senegalese fighter, 6 fights, 6 wins. 4 of them have come with inside the distance. He comes into this contest off the back of 2 stoppage wins as well, so I'm sure the confidence of him will be high. But this is his first fight outside of Africa, so a massive experience for him.
And now let's welcome to the ring, Mason Payne.
And here is 21-year-old Maidstone man Mason Payne. He's been out of the ring for just short of a year, and the last time that we saw him was actually on a South Coast show on a Ryan Garner undercard. 12 months or more later, here he comes again on a Ryan Garner undercard. And what an undercard for him to be on, the Maidstone man. He'll be looking to do the business tonight and to do it in style and catch the attention of the right people at ringside.
Ladies and gentlemen, this bout is scheduled for 6 rounds in the super welterweight division, brought to you by Frank Warren for Queensberry, along with their great sponsors, Mr. Q Casino, That Prize Guy, Riyadh Season, and Global Next Trade. When the bell rings, our referee in charge and scoring the contest will be Bernard Oyette. Introducing first, fighting out of the red corner, he comes to the ring wearing a black with gold and weighed in officially at 155.10 pounds. Coming to us from Dakar, Senegal, he brings an undefeated record. 6 wins. 4 of his 6 wins come by way of knockout. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Sheikh Diop. And his opponent across the ring, fighting out of the blue corner. He comes to the ring wearing black, purple, and yellow, and weighed in officially at 155.12 pounds. Hailing from Maidstone, Kent, England, he had a stellar amateur career, becoming a two-time national champion, and now as a professional. Undefeated with 5 wins. 2 of his 5 wins come by way of knockout. Ladies and gentlemen, here is Mason Payne.
Right, gentlemen, keep it clean, keep it professional, and most of all, protect yourself at all times. Shake hands, go like the ball.
Well, on paper, this is a good test for Mason Payne in there against Shaq Diop. As I said, he's 6-0, 4 KOs on his record. This is his first fight outside of Africa. So how good he is, we're about to find out. Payne in those black and purple shorts, straight out on the front foot in the orthodox stance, trying to get the jab established earlier on. Diop also in the orthodox stance, just with his back to the ropes, looking quite cool and calm and collected at the moment. We'll see how he deals with the pressure, Oscar, when the pressure starts coming in like it does from Mason Payne as the rounds go by, because that is the type of fighter that we've seen him to be so far.
Yeah, he's going to stamp his authority on this fight after a year out the ring. Mason, the 21-year-old from Kent, really talented fighter. I've seen him train up close. He's very fast, can be very aggressive when he wants to be, picks and chooses when to throw his shots as well. I think it's the beauty of boxing, right, that you can have never had a fight outside of your native country and then turn up to St Mary's, to a stadium on the south coast, and have a fight on a big Queensbury bill. It's the beauty of boxing. I'm looking forward to seeing what lies ahead in this one.
That's exactly it. The type of arenas and venues which Diop has fought in, we're not sure. Maybe he has fought in football stadiums, maybe he hasn't, but I'm sure he's turned up and thought, wow, what an undercard to be on. But this should, on paper, be quite a good matchup, actually. As I said, Payne out of the ring for just over 12 months, and he will want to make a bit of a statement here. I'm sure he'll probably want to get a bit of rounds under his belt, a bit of time under his belt as well. But he's nice and aggressive on the front foot for a nice right hand over the top there, then a left hook to the body. Diop got a nice tight guard about him, and he's reading the fight quite well at the moment. But good aggressive work there from Payne.
Yeah, I think he's realised he's going to have that high, tight guard when Mason kind of stepped on the front foot in the first 10 seconds of the fight. Good left hand there from Diop, but Mason just kind of stalking his man around the ring.
Diop just analysing. You can almost hear the cogs going around in his brain as he just tries to work Payne out, who is definitely the fighter on the front foot here. Ever so slightly lower left hand, confident in that, just dips down as he switches stance through that right hand and switched into the southpaw stance. Confident in his ability. There goes that left hook under the right elbow once again. And those kind of pitter-patter Josh Taylor type shots normally means that something bigger and heavier is on the way. And he just ever so slightly missed there, Oscar.
Yeah, there was that bigger and heavier shot you're on about, just whisked past the nose of Diop. I like the way he moves as well. Sometimes when a fighter switches stance, it can be a little bit jittery, but it's very flow state so far, and I like what I'm seeing from Mason.
Mason definitely looking for that left hook to the liver. Good work there. 1-2, then left hook straight up the left uppercut, sorry, straight up the middle of the guard, which lifted the chin of the Senegalese fighter. And it looks like Payne, at the end of that round, just starting to get into his groove, and you can see the rhythm of his punches just starting to come together nicely.
Yeah, he's one of those fighters who likes to take his time, right? He's had 5 fights prior to tonight. 2 have gone inside the distance, but those 2 fights were finished in the final round. So he's not afraid to wait for his moment, pressure, jab, move, and just make sure that the timing is absolutely perfect when he goes for them kind of full throttle attacks. Just started to pick it up in the last minute 30 seconds of that round, knowing that what is coming back from Diop isn't really too heavy. Be interesting to see how he deals with the second round, Diop.
But you know what, looking at Mason Payne's career so far, he's been a pro since the summer of 2024. 5-0 at the moment. Whether it'll be 6-0 in a few rounds' time, we'll soon find out. But the progression's been really nice to watch for him. He's been matched well. The first couple of fights were good points wins, and then he started to knock fighters down, and then he started to win by stoppage. So it just shows that he's being matched in the right way, doesn't it?
Yeah, he's being matched in the right way, and that will go very far in putting him into the right places, right? It's easy to put fighters in the ring with someone that you know they're probably going to stop and get them to what looks nice and pretty, 8-0, 9-0, 10-0 on the record, but when they get chucked in to the deep end, when they're in eliminators, when they're in their first title fight, sometimes they can come unstuck. They need to learn on the job, right? He'll be doing sparring harder probably than the opponents he's faced tonight in the gym, but it's under the lights here where he learns and takes all of that forward into those title fights.
And under the lights, we talk about that later on as the sun goes down here on the south coast and that orange sun gets darker. The lights inside St Mary's will get brighter, the noise will get louder, and Ryan Garner will walk out in front of his beloved Southampton massive, and he will headline here. A massive moment for him. But back to this fight, into round 2 of 6. Mason Payne boxing a good fight there. And Diop doing well there. Nice double jab. Just got through with the second one. And just reminding Payne that he's got a live opponent in front of him who's come here to win, not to roll over.
Yeah, I like the fact that when Diop does throw, Mason almost goes immediately straight back at him just to let him know that, you know, I'm not going to let you try and kind of grab this fight by the horns. And, you know, this is my night. I'm the home fighter here, and I'm going to be the one who is telling you how this fight is going to go.
Who can stamp their authority on each other the better and convince the referee, who is also the scoring judge, that they are winning these rounds. Beautiful combination there from Payne. 1-2 left hook, follows it up with a left hook to the body once again. That is his signature shot so far in his career and in this fight as well. Diop just lost his balance there as he was caught with a straight right hand on the chest, which knocked him ever so slightly.
Did eat a lovely right on the temple though, Diop. Dealt with that quite well and backed up against the ropes now, but I like the way he's dealing with this second round. Mason Payne is real intent. There's a bit more snap behind the shots. He feels a bit more comfortable. Settled in after that time out the ring. Let the first round go by. Landed what he had to land to win the round, and now there's a lot more intent.
Well, a good crowd have come down to the south coast to follow Mason Payne in his 6th professional contest, and they're making themselves loud and clear. Beautiful right hand there by Payne, who's just starting to dig his toes into the canvas as he gets Diop on the ropes. How long can he keep him there for? How much damage can he cause in this position? As we said, the progression has been key for him. Can he get himself another stoppage win, especially with a prolonged period outside the ring, as Diop throws a left hook and misses? Did Payne miss an opportunity there to counter with the right hand, but he's making the most of it here on the ropes, just above our commentary position here at ringside. Good end to the round there, Oscar.
Yeah, really strong end to the round. You could see in his eyes, Mason, there, or we could see from where we are, that I think he was intent on trying to put him away, but like I said, he's one of them fighters who will be happy to wait his turn. He knows the fight is under full control. It was a really, really strong round. We've got to remember, he's only 21 years old. He's just almost finding his feet. He's trying to build his identity in the professional ranks, and it's not going to be simple, it's not going to be easy, it's not all going to be his own way, but on the viewing we've seen in these 2 rounds, he certainly knows how to dictate the pace and tempo of fights.
Doesn't seem nervous at all, even Mason Payne. If you ever spend any time with him outside of the ring or just kind of watch the way that he conducts himself, at 21 years old, an unbelievably mature fighter, made his professional debut at the world famous York Hall, the sort of venue which can swallow fighters up if they let it get to him. But talking of that, looking around him here, you'd think he was anywhere but boxing on a big undercard in a football stadium as we go out for round 3. Straight out on the front foot, doubling up that jab, and then sinks in a right uppercut under the left elbow of Diop, who's just trying to find some sort of entrance, some sort of gap in the armour, in the defence of the man from Maidstone. Will he be able to find it? Nice right hand, steps off to the right, changes the angle, does Payne. And I think that's the key thing with somebody who's quite fluent on their feet like Diop, is just keep changing in your position, changing your position in the ring, keep changing your angle, and keeping your man guessing. And Payne's doing a good job of that so far. And you can see him as he just dips down to the left-hand side and tries to find a moment to get that left hook under the right elbow once again. But Diop's body movement has increased in the opening part of this round. And he might not be winning this fight, Diop, but he's certainly in it.
He's a very valiant opponent for the away corner here tonight. I like that Payne's kind of making them corridors, using his left hand to almost create a lane for the right hand and making them angles to try and find shots to the body and head. Needs to be a little bit busier, I think, at the start of this round, but yeah, I'm liking what I'm seeing.
Nice work there from Payne. Tap upstairs with that left hand. Sinks in the right hand to the body. There it is again upstairs in the form of a right hook this time. It looks like Diop's just trying to work out his some form of attack, but every time that his brain triggers the moment to go, it's nullified by a jab or a straight right hand by Mason Payne, who just slips on the inside from that jab of Diop and then comes back with his own one once again. There's a nice short right hand. Diop comes back with a right uppercut. Lovely work there from Payne. That's exactly how you do it.
I think he's become a lot more wary, Diop, of what's coming back from Mason Payne in this third round. He's almost throwing the jab and almost tucking up into a high guard before the jab's even landed. I think he knows what's coming back is strong and snappy.
The referee just taking Diop to the neutral corner there. Did you catch what that was about there, Oscar? Was it a low blow?
I think it might have been a low blow. He did get a warning earlier on in the first or second round, Mason Payne, but Diop seems okay and we can continue.
The corner of Payne, really keen for him to just remain busy throughout all 6 of these rounds if we get to the 6th and final round in this contest. Lovely short right hand there, snappy it was. And Payne nice and adept in that middle to pocket type distance as he boxes here.
And he's got a smile on his face while he's doing it. You could just see his gum shield clearly there. He's really enjoying his time in the ring tonight. And why should he not? He's been out the ring for enough time. He loves boxing, he loves fighting. It's what he knows how to do. It's what he does best, so he should be enjoying that tonight. It looks like he's having good fun in there. And when a fighter's having good fun, they put in a much better performance.
Well, sometimes you can really see when a fighter's been out of the ring for a long period of time. And when you're 21 years old and you're very early on into your career, really you want to be out at least every 3 months, don't you? But it doesn't look like he's had too much time out of the ring at all, does it?
No, it doesn't. And sometimes that time out of the ring can actually be beneficial, because at this stage for a fighter like Mason Payne, it is about translating what you do in the gym into the ring. Some of the best work you can do will be that work in the gym. So if he's had a year training, working, maybe getting the weight right, maybe trying different things, be it nutrition, be it S&C, just making sure he refines himself to then come back, get busy, and maybe find this Mason Payne 2.0. It will take him just to that fringe title level, because I spoke to him in the week and this guy has big, big hopes going forward.
Well, you can only beat who's put in front of you. And Payne, at the moment, in my opinion, from a few feet away at ringside, is up in this one. He's got to be doing plenty more of the same and a little bit more, because Diop, as the rounds have gone by, does seem to be becoming a little bit more agile, actually, and becoming a little bit more fluent with his work. He's not the easiest person in the world to hit. He's got good upper body movement. And he's got a very relaxed style as well. And that's a good example of it, because Payne for a good right hand there, then missed by quite some distance with the left hook. And it's that kind of counter right hand which Diop throws, which Payne's just got to be careful of. But he's got his man here in the corner. Can he land something significant, something which is unforgiving, which catches the attention and registers for Sheikh Diop?
Just needs to be careful, Mason Payne, that when he's dipping from left to right, he doesn't get caught by one of those hooks from Diop. Look, he's got 4 stoppages in his 6 defeats, and granted, we don't know too much about the opponents he's been facing out in Senegal, but that shows that he's a man who can put people away. So there's definitely going to be some form of power behind those gloves. Whether it's something that could do damage to Mason Payne is a different question, but it's those shots you won't want to take anyway whilst you're in the pocket, especially when you're dipping from left to right or right to left. You catch one of them hooks at the wrong time and, well, it could be curtains.
I love the way that Payne does what he just did there, and he throws a left hook, and he ever so slightly goes back on his right foot and winds up the right hand, and then just really pushes off his back foot to get that right hand straight through the middle. He does that well, and he throws it from a short distance, but it clearly generates a good amount of power as the crowd from Kent sing his name nice and loud and give him any energy which he may need. Loads of enthusiasm in there from him anyway, and that's a good right hook as he switches to the southpaw stance and straight back again. Diop starting to throw less, Oscar, as we go to the last minute of this 4th round.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's fatigue or he might just be running out of a couple of ideas. Mason switching stances. You can hear from his lively crowd behind us. I'm not sure if it's Mason or Maidstone they're chanting, but they're really supporting their man, and he's really enjoying it. Little shuffle in there too, making the most of his long-awaited return to the ring.
So many good fighters from Kent. Of course, another one, you might have heard of him, goes by the name of Moses Atama, back out in August against Filip Hrgovic at the O2 Arena. But back to concentrating on this one from Kent. Mason Payne, who is standing right in front of his man and inviting him in to have a proper scrap if he wants it. And the feet and the stance of Payne have ever so slightly widened in the last few moments. And I think he's just starting to really dig those shots in, isn't he?
Yeah, you can see his corner, Mason, almost inviting him in and going, throw a little bit more, be a little bit more busier, let those big shots go. Really entertaining last 20 seconds to them round. He had the backed up against the rope, he was shuffling from left to right, there was angles, there was hooks. Really entertaining flurry of punches in that last 20 seconds from Mason Payne.
Well, clearly, Diop has got some heavy hands himself, because it doesn't matter who you're fighting necessarily. If you can have 6 fights, 6 wins, and stop 4 of them, 2 of them inside the first couple of rounds, he's obviously got some good punching power there, but it doesn't look like it's phased Payne, not even in the slightest so far, is it?
No, I think he's enjoyed almost being within range and showing his movement, almost leaving his chin in there a little bit, just to tempt Diop to come forward, and then he kind of transfers his weight to his back foot, right hand straight down the pipe.
But I've got to say, this is Queensbury's 4th stadium fight in the last 13-14 months. We started with Fabio Wardley and Justice Hooney. Then we went to Wembley Stadium for Daniel Dubois and Alexander Usyk. A few weeks ago, we were in Doncaster for Dave Allen and Filip Hrgovic. And here we are at St Mary's. And isn't it nice to see the sunshine, Oscar?
Beautiful, isn't it? And do you know what the beauty of the stadium fights you just listed is that they're all very different. Of course, Wembley is the pinnacle, right? It's the big one. You'll get 90 to 100,000 people in for a big fight. But Ipswich, Doncaster, Southampton, places traditionally you wouldn't really expect stadium fights to go to, but they've all been brilliant nights. Bums on seats, big atmospheres, big fights. That's just what Queensbury do.
Exactly, and you get a different type of fan as well. Southampton football fans who may not necessarily watch boxing have already taken their seats inside the stadium, probably the very ones which they watch their team in. And here enjoying watching an up-and-coming prospect in Mason Payne, who's done a good job so far. I think Diop's going to be a tough man to get out of it, because he's elusive when he needs to be elusive. He does stand there in front of you, but when he's in trouble, you can tell, because he uses his feet to get himself out of that danger zone.
Yeah, you're always quite curious, as we said at the beginning of this fight. When a fighter's coming from Senegal and he hasn't fought outside of his own country, you're always kind of curious as to what opposition he's been in with. But you can tell this is a man who knows his way around the ring, even just being able to escape the pockets, being able to get himself off the ropes, get himself out of trouble, get himself out of range as well. He's going to be a hard man to stop tonight. I think the next minute of this round and the first minute of the final round, which is next, will be kind of really telling as to whether this fight will go inside the distance or not.
Well, I don't know how much of those 2 punches before came through, but they were heavy shots there from Mason Payne, and he's starting to sense that he may well have his man here in a bit of trouble as he gets him on the ropes and in the corners, and he really wants to let his hands go now, does Payne. And there goes another right hand, and Diop just trying to be as elusive as he possibly can, and his hands have been glued to his head for the last 20 seconds or so, and they absolutely needed to be there, because Payne just trying to find his way through that tight guard. Diop looks like he may have weathered that storm.
They're just pouring at the face of Diop with his right hand. They're waiting for a channel for the left to be able to come in. He's got that high guard now, and I think he's going to do everything he can to see out these last 20 seconds of this round. He's been under real fire for the last minute here, Diop.
You can tell the confidence is oozing out of Payne as his hands have got lower as we got into later parts of this fight, specifically into this round. And we're going to the last few seconds here. And Payne properly enjoying himself.
Yeah, looking out the ring, catching the eye of some friends and family too, having fun in there. And as I said a couple of rounds ago, why would he not have fun in there? He's been out the ring for a year and he's back in now and he's doing his thing.
Well, this is what is coming up on the prelims. 6 fights in total. If you're just joining us, welcome along. This is fight number 2. The first fight of the evening, William Birchall, took the grand total of, well, about 30 or 40 seconds. What the official time was around that. Another Birchall in the ring after this one. Leighton Birchall, one of the most talented amateur fighters England has seen for a very long time. Won almost everything you could possibly think of when it comes to that side of the game. Charlie Senior will follow him, an Olympic bronze medalist from Bradford, but represented Australia. We'll tell you more about those guys as their fights start a little bit later on.
I said, Darren, I think the first minute of this round will go far into telling us how this fight might end, whether it can be a job that Mason Payne does inside the distance, but he's come out with intent of his own, Diop, and maybe he knows, well, he must know he's behind on the cards. Maybe he's come out to try and put on the ultimate shock here on the prelims tonight.
Well, fighters, when they get these opportunities, if they can catch the eyes of the right people, that can work wonders for them. But Payne just got to stay on his game, be doing exactly what he has been doing. Nice, fluent work. Keeping the rhythm which has been working for him, just keep it flowing, keep it going, and keep backing his man on the ropes. The corner of Payne shouting at him to let his hands go. Tough guard to get through with Diop, so he defensively does well.
Yeah, tough guard, and he has been very selective about when he throws those counter punches. When Payne is looking for a big shot, he'll be more than happy to throw out a wild left hook or throw a right uppercut just to try and catch Payne and always warn him off a little bit. I think he's navigated the final round quite well, Diop. It'll be interesting to see if he does kind of throw some serious lever into the final 90 seconds here to try and flip this fight on its head.
We're just under 90 seconds to go. And again, Diop finds himself on the ropes. And Payne using that left hand of his, that jab, to try and size his man up for a big, horrible right hand of some sort. And there's that left hook to the body. A shot which has landed multiple times in this 6-round contest. As the sun just beams over the top of the stadium here at St Mary's and shines on a very shiny back of Mason Payne, who's put some work in here. And again, he's doubling up that left hook. Upstairs, then downstairs. There's the right cross straight to the head of the man from Senegal, who's throwing less and less as we go into the last 45 seconds of this contest.
Yeah, throwing less and less, and they're less and less powerful too from Diop. He's got 40 seconds to see this fight through. Mason Payne throwing some serious lever downstairs as well. I love them little lefts to the body, the way he dips into it and really puts the weight in his feet. Got Diop in the corner now and teeing off. Lovely right uppercut, overhand right.
And Diop needs to get himself out of the danger zone or grab hold of his man, but Mason Payne making sure that he can't do that, throwing short, straight shots, short left hooks and digging into the body. You can see his dip his toes into the canvas there as he really pushed off and let some heavy shots get there. As we go into the last few seconds, and that is the sound of the final bell, and surely Mason Payne moves to 6-0, and a very good comeback fight for him after 12 long months away from a professional boxing ring.
Yeah, brilliant matchmaking. I think that had everything he would have wanted. He had a man who was willing to fire back, a man who wasn't easy to hit, a man who was happy to stand in the pocket but also apply little pockets of pressure himself. It was a brilliant comeback fight for Mason Payne, and you can't say he didn't try to stop him at the end. Those last 25 seconds, he gave it all that he had, but some brilliant and
kind of tricky defensive work from Diop, rolling with the shots and throwing little bits back here and there, made sure that this fight had gone to the final bell. But yeah, really impressed with Mason Payne, and a big shout out to Diop as well.
Well said, that man. Couldn't have put it better myself. Mason Payne's team trying to get the glove off him. And glued to his hands by the looks of it. The referee will get both fighters together. And surely Thomas Schreiber will announce that Mason Payne, the man from Maidstone who's brought a really good crowd to Southampton, moves ahead. And this is another successful step in his journey. Well, there we go. Gloves off, t-shirt on. Get that man in the middle.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 6 rounds of boxing, our referee in charge, Bernard Oyette, scores it 60-54 for your winner and still undefeated, Mason Payne.
But there you go, 60-54 to Mason Payne, who dances and celebrates in the centre of the ring, in the centre or on the centre of the pitch. And you know he's been working on that backflip for ages, don't you?
Yeah, it's cool, and it's cool. I looked at that and thought, I wish I could do that. Darren, I really did.
Well, we'll test you out later on, Oscar. But I'll tell you another person, if they are victorious later on, who will do a backflip, is Charlie Senior, the Paris 2024 Olympian, who's coming up a little bit later on. And Thomas Schreiber, let's switch cards.
Let's now welcome to the ring, Cesar Ignacio El Sordo Paredes.
Well, here is Zerdo, Cesar Ignacio Paredes, 33 years old, from Peru. No stranger to boxing here in the UK. He shared the ring with the likes of Royston Barney-Smith, Charlie Senior, Stephen Cairns, Luke Bibby, and plenty of other top talented fighters. And the vast majority who have been in there with him end up going the distance. And someone who could do with some rounds, or a fight in particular, is the man who is about to be announced to this very boxing ring.
And now let's welcome to the ring the undefeated Leighton the Future Burchell.
Well, here he comes, Leighton Burchell, 19 years old, one of the most talented amateurs England has seen in recent years. He has had an utter nightmare over the past few months. He was meant to be fighting on 2 previous shows, and both fights fell through at the last moment. The last one was practically on fight day. He was devastated. So the fact that he's walking through those ropes right now will be massive for him, and he will be thrilled to be in there.
Ladies and gentlemen, this bout is scheduled for 6 rounds in the featherweight division. Brought to you by Frank Warren for Queensberry, along with their great sponsors, Mr. Q Casino, That Prize Guy, Riyadh Season, and Global Next Trade. When the bell rings, our referee in charge and scoring the contest will be Mark Bates. Introducing first, fighting out of the red corner, he comes to the ring wearing black trunks and weighed in officially at 128 pounds. Coming to us from Callao, Peru, he is a veteran of 54 professional bouts. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Cesar Ignacio El Sordo Paredes. And his opponent across the ring, fighting out of the blue corner. He comes to the ring wearing black with pink and weighed in officially at 128.10 pounds. Hailing from Morecambe, England, he is undefeated with 4 wins. 3 of his 4 wins come by way of knockout. Ladies and gentlemen, here is Leighton, the Future Birchall.
Okay, gentlemen, when I tell you to break, you take a step back immediately. Keep your punches up, obey my commands, and protect yourselves at all times. Good luck, gents. Touch gloves.
Well, fight number 5 for Leighton Birchall, the Morecambe fighter. Older brother William opened up the night for us, or opened up the afternoon even, and got the job done in under 40 seconds or so. Paredes is a tough opponent. Gave Charlie Senior Jr. a good old scrap. Royston Barney Smith as well. So if Leighton can do a job on Paredes, it would be a very good look indeed. Birchall, of course, fighting in those black and pink shorts. Paredes of Peru in the all black. And Birchall, who finally gets into a boxing ring after a couple of fights falling through in the most frustrating fashion, is taking his time with this and just working his man out and just pushing him back in that southpaw stance of his, Oscar.
Yeah, it's about a win tonight, but as you mentioned, it's also about putting a little statement out. Those little wins are big too, right? There's a lot of prospects in this country. There's a lot of prospects worldwide that want to have the light shone on them. If you can get these little wins, make these little statements and push yourself to the front of the queue to be considered for the biggest cards and the biggest nights and be heavily invested in more than some of the other prospects, then you're doing something right. So I want to put a real business-like performance in tonight and make a statement whilst doing so.
As I mentioned, Leighton, an unbelievably talented amateur. He was a 6 times national champion, 14-time international champion, a European silver medalist, and anybody who knows about winning European medals will know that they are not easy to come by. And he was voted the best boxer in the country by England officials 3 years in a row. I know he's proud of that one, and so he should be as well. But he's putting in a good, solid performance so far in this opening round. Those body shots are really sinking in. You can hear the sound of them as they land. And it does look to me, Oscar, like that is a bit of the game plan. He's going downstairs a fair bit in this opening round.
Yeah, quick on his feet, sinking shots to the body. And when he gets an opportunity, though, he's happy to throw, as we saw just then. But he's not going to be wasteful. He's not going to be wild with his shots.
Paredes looks a tad wary at the moment. And he can turn into a bit of a negative fighter when he's being pressurised and being put on the back foot. Solid southpaw jab there from Birchall. Nice high guard. That lead hook, sorry, goes with a thud, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's a real whip. That noise when it lands, be it to the body, be it to the head, or be it to the gloves. It's a real powerful whipping shot. I like the fact he's fighting off the foundations of a jab as well. Not afraid to double jab, step in, assert his authority on the fight.
That's exactly it as we go into the last few seconds of the opening round. Both go for that southpaw jab to the body at exactly the same time. And what we've seen in the past with Leighton Birchall, Oscar, is he does tend to start like this. He just gets into his rhythm, pushes his man back. And as the moments go by, as the rounds go by, he just starts to get more aggressive. The work rate starts to increase. And that's when he starts to cause lots of big problems.
Yeah, I think that's the MO of a really clever fighter. Actually, it'd be easy to get in there and expend all your energy, use all your shots and try and impress too much. But he knows his way around the ring. He's a 6-time national champion. He knows no mean feat that at all. He knows his way around the ring. He knows he'll conserve his energy, find the pockets, work out how his opponent wants to approach this fight. Like you said, make sure that, you know, this is a fight that could potentially become a little bit negative. So maybe try and suss him out, know where to stand, know where to throw, And then as the rounds go on, just up the tempo a little bit, and then start to really assert yourself in this fight.
Well, let's see how much he can assert himself. Paredes walks out without the gum shield, back in, and we are back on our way. I'll just look across ringside, the massive stadium screen showing the fight, the fans who are already taking their seat in the stadium. It's going to be packed in here later on. And what an atmosphere it will be for Ryan Garner, who has dreamt of this moment, this evening, all of his life. Nice double jab, straight left down there from Birchall.
Strong left hand over the top there. Shot he looked for a couple of times in the first round, but was just a little bit hesitant. Like I said, he doesn't want to look messy in there tonight. He wants to make sure that his punches are clean, and if he sees the opportunity, land, create the corridor, create the alley for those left hands, and that's what he did with that one about 10 seconds ago.
Paredes looks like he's just trying to work out how he gets his shots off, how he gets them working. But in terms of speed, Birchall is just a bit too quick for him. And he's beating him to the punch almost every single time, if not every single time, Oscar.
Yeah, I think as soon as he starts to release, Leighton Birchall knows he can throw, he can catch him, he can counter. And he's got really brilliant release points as well. He can throw shots from down low, he can throw those looping left hands over the top. There was an example of one thrown from low there, that right hand to the body from Leighton Birchall. He looked really impressive in just the way he moves and the way he throws shots.
He really whips that lead hook out, does Birchall. I love the way that he'll throw that jab and then he can just turn it round and catch Paredes on the temple very quickly. Beautiful body shot there from Birchall. Nice work there, upstairs and downstairs with the lead hook again. He'll be looking to do plenty more of the same. And Paredes looking a little more wary as each 10 seconds pass, if you like.
Yeah, he landed that left hand, stepped in, and then almost put his weight on Paredes, so he couldn't really use his arms, and then that just allowed him to throw that right to the body. Unguarded. Really clever from Leighton Birchall. You've got to be clever in these clinches because you're fighting guys who know their way around the ring, right? They've got this kind of away corner IQ where they know in close what to do, how to deal with you and your shots. That was really clever up close there from Leighton Birchall.
With the body work of Birchall, especially towards the last third of this round, has increased. And I guess he's just trying to slow him down a little bit because we know that Paredes from previous fights can start to become a bit negative and just purely go on the back foot and just circle around the ring and just keep changing clockwise, anti-clockwise. Where if he keeps hammering at that body, he's going to slow the chances of that becoming a thing for Paredes, isn't he?
Yeah, the last thing any fighter wants, no matter how good you are and perhaps how limited your opponent can be in a boxing sense, is to be in with a man who's just going to circle around the ring, see out the fight and not really give you many opportunities to throw. So you soften him up to the body, bring that engine down, make sure that every bit of defense he has to do is kind of taking something from his energy tank. That will really come into play and that will benefit you when it comes to round 4, round 5 and round 6.
Well, I think we'll get there with a fighter like Paredes. In his 35 defeats, because that is his role, is that away corner journeyman type fighter, only 4 people have managed to actually get him out of there before the sound of the final bell. And as I said in the opening round, it would be quite a statement for Birchall to do that. And surely there's got to be a bit of brotherly competition, isn't there? Because brother Will doing the job earlier on, they'll want to go home with 2 wins by stoppage, right?
Well, one thing he couldn't do was beat what Will done earlier, because he would have had to come out and literally dived at Paredes, I think, to try and beat how quick Will finished the job earlier. But yeah, they want 2 stoppages tonight. They want to go home both in the best mood that they can, and that will definitely come with a Will stoppage, tick, and a Leighton stoppage, potentially. We'll see how these next 3 rounds go.
Well, this is the second 6-rounder for Leighton. The first 6-rounder he did went 4 rounds because he stopped this man in the 4th. And it could actually be quite nice for him to get 6 rounds under his belt. Not to know that he can do it. We know he can do it. He's very talented, lives in the gym, and treats the game very seriously. Paredes complaining of a low blow there. Did it look low to you, Oscar?
I think it was low, but I think he's, for what's a better term, milking it to try and perhaps get some seconds and get some rest, because there's been pretty relentless pressure from Leighton Birchall in the first 75 seconds of this 3rd round.
It was a bit of a blind spot for me, so I couldn't quite work it out, but referee Mark Bates just having a quiet word with Leighton. Paredes just trying to get himself back together.
It was clearly in a bit of a blind spot for Paredes too.
So it seemed. Punches and bunches from Birchall. And Paredes just trying to change the angle and where he's standing in the ring. You do not want to be a sitting duck when you're in there against him. There's 3 fighters have found out already. Lovely straight left hand over the top there from Birchall. And 3 or 4 shots came upstairs before he sunk in a lead hook to the body. There it is again, follows it up with an uppercut. Birchall really starting to get into his rhythm here. And there it is again, he sinks it straight under the left elbow of the man from Peru, who just for a moment looked a little bit overwhelmed, Oscar.
Yeah, he did. He wasn't sure whether to keep low, keep a high guard, back off, try and clinch. He did look overwhelmed. That's the perfect word. I think when he was dipping low, it was easy for Leighton to just whip in those right hooks. I think he'll be desperate to see the end of this 3rd round. Get back and try and reset here, Paredes.
Just watching the way that Birchall's cutting the ring off here. He's not like over-exaggerating that cut off. He just does it enough to keep his man circling.
You can almost draw a small circle in the ring that he occupies
for
the majority of the round.
Well, good work, and I think there was moments in that round where Paredes just seemed a little bit overwhelmed and had to kind of gather his thoughts, take a big deep breath and try and find some sort of safe place, which isn't the easiest thing in the world when you've got a 19-year-old hungry fighter who's had a horrendous 6 months in terms of activity coming flying at you. But he's navigating okay, his Paredes. It'll be quite interesting just to see how Birchall treats the up-and-coming rounds. I think we'll probably see a little bit more of the same, to tell you the truth. And it'll be a case of just breaking him down, getting the rounds in, rather than flying at him and trying to finish the job in 30 seconds or so.
Yeah, one thing you're not going to get from Leighton now is him stepping off the gas. He knows he can hurt his man. He knows he can cause trouble. He knows he can confuse him too. I think you're going to see a little bit more of the same in this 4th round, and maybe as we get into the 5th and 6th, just turning it up to that final gear.
Changing the levels all the time, Birchall, even if it is by the tiniest amount. It just dip his legs ever so slightly, back up, nice and tall, but the guard doesn't change. It's nice and tight to his face at all times. Just feinting with the lead hand there, then caught Paredes with a left hook to the body. Ah, beautiful shot there. Paredes got through with that one. But Birchall shrugs it off and keeps walking forward in the solid stance which he has.
Well, Paredes corner to our right, absolutely love that shot as it landed flush on the chin, and Leighton Birchall, I wonder whether that's going to almost bring out a little bit more in him now that he's felt the power and knows that this is a fight that, you know, you can never be too complacent in.
I tell you one thing for sure, Oscar. Surely tomorrow morning Paredes is going to feel around his left and right ribs. They're going to be a bit sore because Birchall was quite discreetly hammered at them, hasn't he, over the last 4 rounds?
I'm not sure discreetly is the right word. He has just hammered at them, isn't he? It has been pretty relentless.
He does it in a clever way, doesn't he? It's just like he'll go upstairs and then he'll just sink a big, horrible left hook or right hook into the body. Then he just gets back to business.
Yeah, a lot of fighters will tell you it's the shot they don't see coming that hurts the most. And I suppose discreetly could be the perfect word, actually, because he is going upstairs and Paredes is then not feeling or not ready to tense for that shot that comes into the body. And they are seriously loud as we sit here ringside, I can tell you that.
Great work there from Birchall just a moment ago. Went body and head, snapped the head back of Paredes, who lands a relatively decent backhand uppercut of his own. Birchall comes back with the straight left hand. And you can just see as he tucks his chin into his chest, Birchall, one of the 3 fighting brothers. He's getting into his groove now. He's enjoying himself.
Yeah, I know there's a job to do at hand, but I hope he has taken a couple of seconds to just look ringside, see 2 of the other Birchall clan and just realise that he's fighting in a stadium. Will fought on the undercard, done the business early doors in that fight, early doors in the first round. Nelson there ringside too, family, friends. I hope he's taken just a couple of seconds to look and realise that what he's doing special tonight.
Very special. Another good step on the journey. And listen, look, we get the opportunity to be ringside, don't we, and see so many of these young up-and-coming fighters, and you can tell the ones who are going to do something, and I really believe that Leighton Birchall is going to do something. I'm not quite sure what that is, but at least a British title.
Yeah, I think, and you never want to heap too much pressure on these young fighters, and I know especially when they watch that back, I don't want to be receiving any Instagram messages from them the next day, but I will say one thing, I think it will be a little bit of a travesty if the Birchall brothers do not pick up titles at the very least in this professional game. They're all very well equipped. They all know the game inside out. They've got a brilliant support network too. And just watching Leighton in here, you can just see the signs of someone who's a really, really special fighter. His footwork is brilliant. Sometimes his hand, it's almost blink if you miss it. The speed he throws these punches at, they're a brilliant trio. And Leighton's looking really good tonight.
He's got a good boxing brain as well, Leighton, both inside the ring, of course, but outside of it as well. He sat in your very seat, Oscar, with me before and done a couple of evenings of co-commentary. And he'll see bits and pieces which are coming before they actually come, and it all comes to fruition. And that is a big part of being a successful fighter as well, isn't it? It's about reading the fight. So when you've got someone in front of you, that's where your boxing IQ comes in, I guess.
Yeah, you've got to be able to preempt what's going to come back from your opponent. I don't really like the term, but people use that downloading data. It can be a little bit of a boxing cliche, but you just saw in the first round he wasn't kind of as active as he has been in the second, and then he's upped it a little bit because you just have to work out the man who's in front of you. You learn to preempt what he's going to bring, what shots he's going to throw, and that's a massive part of being a professional fighter and takes you almost right to the top, right? You're in real good stead if you can work out an opponent, suss out what they're going to do, where they're going to stand, how they're going to place their front foot early on in a fight and take that in as the rounds continue.
You can just imagine the Birchall brothers with boxing gloves on in the living room, can't you? Causing chaos back in the day. And I know that when they were younger...
Parents shouting at them.
Yeah, exactly. I know they... nice work there from Birchall. Beautiful work off that lead hook. I know that they had a sign on their front door which said, "Welcome to the Madhouse." And William, his elder brother, said, well, people can't say that they weren't warned as they entered our house. And just looking at the 2 brothers ringside, it just got me chuckling.
Yeah, I haven't been to the Birchall residence, but I can imagine what it's like even now, and I can imagine what it would have been like back in the day. Never a pair of boxing gloves on the floor, always on someone's hands. Front room sparring. I can picture it perfectly.
And here we are all these years later as we're going to the final stages of this 6-round contest. Paredes done a really good job of sustaining these attacks. It hasn't been easy for him. And surely Birchall has won every single one of these rounds so far. And at the end of this, we'll be 5-0. Nice. Lunge forward with a straight left hand. Did Birchall. A bit comes back from Paredes. But it seems like the attacks which are coming from the man from Peru are more attacks to say, get off of me, rather than I'm doing this because I want to win the round, if that makes sense. He's doing it out of natural instinct rather than game plan.
He's almost trying to swat Leighton Birchall off, right? He isn't comfortable with these overhand lefts that are landing on the temple. He's just throwing shots, like you said, almost on instinct. Lovely left uppercut from Leighton Birchall. He's been invited on by, I think that's his mother down there, and his 2 brothers as well. And with about 15 seconds left in this round, it'll be good to see if he can put a bit more of a dent in. No, that's the end of the 5th. And yeah, again, a really strong round from Leighton Birchall.
Well, this is what's coming up on the main card, live on DAZN from 7 p.m, the main broadcast. Taylor Bevan is 8-0 with 8 KOs and doing a wonderful job in the pro game. He will have a proper crowd of him here this evening. Adam Elanian, fighter from Dublin, heavyweight fighter, made his debut on that undercard of Pierce O'Leary's fight on St. Patrick's weekend. What a moment that was for him. He's back in action. And then, of course, Lyndon Arthur in there against Louis Edmondson from the South Coast, Southampton. And then it is the Nuki Bomb. He's back in action after that unbelievable fight against not David Morrell, that unbelievable fight which he had on the undercard of Fabio Wardley and Daniel Dubois. I was getting Zach Shelley and the Nuki Bomb mixed up there because they were both like ridiculous turnarounds, weren't they?
Yeah, it was a brilliant fight between Brad Pauls and Shaquille Thompson. And I think the best thing about Brad Pauls and his success over the last couple of years is, as you will know, Darren, he is such a lovely and knowledgeable boxing man. It's great to see people succeed when they're just brilliant people to go alongside it as well. Brilliant fight between him and Goldsmith at the top of the bill, the top of the card prior to the main event, should I say the co-main, as I think we call it nowadays. It's a really, really strong night of action, and Louis Edmondson, Lyndon Arthur's a brilliant fight, and brilliant to see a lot of fighters from the South Coast getting involved too. Taylor Bevan, obviously a Matchroom man, been lent to Queensbury for this show as well, so promoter relations are nice and high. I'm really looking forward to how this night just kind of pans out in the ring.
So much good stuff yet to come, but back to this one in the 6th and final round of fight number 5 for Leighton Birchall. And we are officially the furthest that Leighton Birchall has been in a professional contest so far, as he digs in an overhand left into the man from Peru, who we've seen in there with so many good fighters over the past and taken them the distance as well. It looks like he'll do exactly the same with young Leighton Birchall here, who is tipped to do some brilliant things in the future if he carries on in the way that he is, with the attitude which he's got. But a nice sharp left hand goes straight through the middle of the guard of Paredes there. And he's still got to have his wits about him in the last minute and 10 seconds of this contest.
Yeah, I think both men will be time conscious, and for Paredes, that'll be trying to see through the fight. Just landed a really nice left hand there, actually, Paredes. But I think from Nelson Birchall's perspective and his team's perspective, it'll be being conscious that there's a minute left. Can we throw a little bit more lever? Can we try and get Paredes out of here? It might not happen, but I'm sure he will want to try and kind of rubber stamp what's been a really strong, solid performance tonight.
Defensively, very clever is Paredes. Very clever. You can see the experience in everything which he does. He knows how to weather those storms, no matter how small they are. And they looked at the referee, Mark Bates, there and got punished for it. Because what Mark Bates would have told him at the very start is protect yourself at all times. Do not take your eyes off of your opponent.
Lovely left hand from Birchall. He's done very well to navigate this last round. Paredes has also got away corner legend Mr. Martinez shouting instructions to my right, so he knows what to do to see a fight through, but beaten convincingly by Leighton Birchall, who I thought looked really strong, really solid and a really quick tonight. Impressive performance. And William, tick, Leighton, tick. It's a good night for the Birchall family.
Absolutely, and a good night for top trainer Joe McNally, who's got an unbelievable gym there in Liverpool. And what a fighting family the Birchall family are turning out to be. And another stepping stone done and dusted. He will absolutely be hoping that it isn't anywhere near as long as that before his next fight. And I've got a feeling that Leighton's not too happy with his performance. Just his body language a bit there. He looked at me and sort of muttered something under his breath. I know he expects a lot of himself. But anyway, here's Thomas Triber with the scorecard.
Ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, after 6 rounds of boxing, our referee in charge, Mark Bates, scores the contest 60-54 for your winner, and still undefeated, Leighton, the Future Birchall.
60-54, exactly as we had it at ringside. Hats off to Cesar Ignacio Paredes of Peru. He's a tough customer, a top operator of what he does. He certainly isn't easy doing that type of role, but he does it unbelievably well. And I'm sure we'll be seeing plenty more of him with more of our up-and-coming prospects in the coming months and years.
They play a vital role, do those fighters, getting on the circuit, teaching our young prospects, some of our best young prospects, how to navigate these fights.
Facundo Arce.
Well, before our last fighters have left the ring, the next ones are making their way to the ring. And this is Argentine Facundo Arce.
And now let's welcome to the ring the undefeated Charlie Sr.
But this is a seriously talented young man, an Olympic bronze medalist from the Paris 2024 games, and in his last fight he landed one of the most beautiful right hands I've seen in a very long time. That right hand caused him to go relatively viral, if you like, and caught the attention of the boxing public. He is a very shrewd operator, and we look forward to seeing him in operation here this evening.
Ladies and gentlemen, this bout is scheduled for 8 rounds in the super featherweight division. Brought to you by Frank Warren for Queensberry, along with their great sponsors, Mr. Q Casino, That Prize Guy, Riyadh Season, and Global Next Trade. When the bell rings, our referee in charge and scoring the contest will be Mark Bates. Introducing first, fighting out of the red corner, he comes to the ring wearing black trunks and weighed in officially at 133.9 pounds. Coming to us from Barcelona, Catalunya, Spain, he brings a professional record consisting of 18 wins, 22 defeats, 2 draws, 7 wins, come by way of knockout. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the King Facundo Arce. And his opponent across the ring, fighting out of the blue corner, he comes to the ring wearing silver with white and weighed in officially at 132.8 pounds. Hailing from Bradford, England, he proudly represented Australia at the 2024 Olympics, earning a bronze medal, and now as a professional. undefeated. 4 wins, 2 of his 4 wins come by way of knockout. Ladies and gentlemen, here is Charlie Sr.
Gentlemen, when I tell you to break, you take a step back immediately. Keep your punches up, obey my commands, and protect yourselves at all times. Good luck to you both, gents. Trust loves.
But this one a contest, 8 3-minute rounds in the super featherweight division for Kondo Arce of Argentina. You're probably looking at him thinking, I've seen him before. And you would have seen him in there with the likes of James McGibbon, Louis O'Doherty, Tom Welland, and Cameron Vong. He took all of those fighters a distance, and there was one particular fight where he stood out, and that was at the world-famous York Hall in Bethnal Green, when he knocked Archie Sharp to the canvas twice in the opening round and caused a bit of a scare. And Charlie Senior, as I said, Olympic bronze medalist from those Paris 24 games. Loads of his friends and family will be watching back home in Australia. He's got a big fan base, has Senior. Put on a brilliant performance last time out. Proper cool operator he is. And even though he's lived in Australia for such a long time, he's still got quite a strong Bradford accent.
Yeah, I was shocked the first time I spoke to Charlie, actually. And can I say to those who are watching from Australia, I don't know what time of day it is, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, but welcome. And you're in for a treat. Charlie Senior, I mean, I'm sure you know if you are watching from down under, is just a brilliant fighter. He's so quick, so agile. English-born, Australian-made. If he starts to really succeed in the pros, I was wondering if we can claim him back as one of ours. We'll see.
I don't know if he'll be on board. I don't know if he'll be on board. You can see the Olympic circles on the back of his shorts there. I know that his granddad was instrumental in both his boxing career and also the person which he's become. And I know that over the years he's had his granddad's name, Dennis, on his gum shield. I'm sure that's exactly the same as it is tonight. And if you don't know too much of his story, he was a very talented dancer, break dancer. Had some couple of scholarships he got, and the boxing gym was next door, and he thought, I'll give it a go. And here we are, 1 Olympic medal later, and 5 fights into the professional journey, but a relatively steady start to this opening round. Arce having a bit of a go, but Senior doing a good job of tucking up and keeping nice and loose and moving around in the right ways.
Yeah, that breakdancing background checks out when I look at the footwork that we've seen from Charlie Senior in the pro ranks. Arce really coming with a bit of something, happy to throw shots, happy to throw downstairs and let Senior know that he's not here to take part. He's here to try and win some rounds and potentially win the fight too.
As I said, he really caused a bit of a scare to Archie Sharp that day. I remember Sharp going to the canvas a couple of times and nobody expected it. Arce is a good, solid fighter. And he catches Senior there with a left hook, and it's a sort of shot which will cause Senior to put his foot down a little bit and start letting his hands go a bit more. But this is the type of opponent which he'll want. Someone who's firing back at him, getting him thinking, getting him moving. There's that overhand right. That is exactly the type of overhand right which he threw in Derby on the undercard of our Owen Cooper card. And it was a beauty. He'll be looking to land exactly the same type of shot here this evening, Oscar.
Absolutely will. We did get caught on the way out by that left hook and then caught again by the left hook of Arce. He might just have woken him up, shaken him up a bit. I will say both men throwing strong, stiff jabs, making sure all their work is coming off that leading punch. Entertaining first round. I'll tell you what, sometimes you get these fights on prelim cards, and look, Darren, me and you have seen enough of these and there's no hiding from it. Sometimes you get these where you can tell one man is there to win and do a job and the other man is there to do a job but probably not try to win the fight. That looks like a man in the away corner in Arce there who is here to try and make something happen tonight and potentially shoot himself further upwards.
Well said, that man. Arce hasn't been stopped for 3 years. And for somebody who is incredibly active, that is good going, especially when you look at the resume of the opponents who have been in the opposite corner. He's been in there with a real talented bunch. Lightning fast, that jab straight away from the English Australian, we'll call him. And I know he's proud of those Bradford roots. And super proud, as you said, of being built down under in Australia.
Yeah, I know the sun's been shining here for the last couple of weeks, but if someone said to me Bradford or Australia, I think it would be an easy choice, just looking at the disparity in the degrees between the two.
I think you're onto something there. Arce just trying to double that jab up, missed ever so slightly, just off the centre of the nose of Charlie Senior. He's got that right hand nice and high, that left hand a little bit lower. That's the one which he controls the fight with. Super fast with that left hand. There it is again. And almost always that jab sets up the next shot. The significant ones, the ones which cause real problems. Not that a jab isn't causing the problems, because it is, but they're different types of problems.
I'm sure he'll want to click onto it quickly, and I'm sure he might have done already, Charlie Senior. But when Arce just dips and almost triggers that shoulder, he knows a big overhand right's coming, and they're dangerous shots. Like you said, he's put Archie Sharp down twice. He's won via stoppage and dropped some top prospects before, so he'll want to be careful. There it was again. When he dips, he just throws that overhand right. There's a little kind of couple of seconds where when the shoulder triggers, Charlie will want to notice that and make sure he's aware of it.
One of the things I'll say about Charlie Senior is him inside that boxing ring and him outside of that boxing ring. You wouldn't believe that they're the same person. He is super vicious inside there, and he's got that instinct about him. He's got that killer instinct where he wants to get the job done in serious fashion. And you see him and speak to him outside of it, and he is one of the most chilled out, cool customers you'll ever meet.
I think for me, that's the beauty of boxing, right? We know most people on the circuit, you know, this side of the water, and many from over in America and down under too. Vicious when you're in the ring, but just genuine, nice, calm people when you're outside of it. Being able to switch that, flick that switch, sorry, is such a, you know, such a benefit of being able to control yourself and make sure you're not too agitated, you're not wasting energy and using adrenaline on fight weeks outside the ring. So when you get into the ring, you kind of flick that switch and the real fighter in you comes out.
I mean, there are aspects of that cool side of him inside the ring, because he'll get caught with something, but he doesn't lose his cool. He stays composed. He keeps keeps his head in the game, and does all the right things. That was a beautiful right hand there by Senior. And he's using his speed to win this fight more than anything at the moment. Are you in agreement?
Yeah, absolutely. He's quite confident in terms of when he lands a shot, he can leave himself there for a couple of seconds and shuffle left, shuffle right, get out of range, move angles, and then maybe throw a 1 and 2. I noticed he's done a couple of times in that round 2 just to almost assert himself and assert that coming together.
Well, we know one thing over this 8-round contest. Facundo Arce will generally keep up the tempo, keep up the pace, and keep firing shots out of nowhere. He is definitely the type of character where you have got to be on the ball at all times. You have got to be zoned in, proper focused from the moment that that bell sounds. Charlie Senior knows that.
I think that's what makes this a brilliant victory for the CV, should it come for Charlie Senior. One he'll have to work hard for, one he'll have to keep his wits about him for potentially 24 minutes should the fight go the full distance. That's what would make tonight a really brilliant step forward in his very early professional career.
Do you know what must be really hard when you're fighting Charlie Senior? Is how quickly, when he throws that jab, how quickly the next shot follows. It's ridiculous. It's blistering hand speed. I don't know how quickly it's coming across on your television, but up close and personal, it is rapid. And the moment they've tried to parry that jab, that right hand is coming straight through the middle. I don't know what your Spanish is like, Oscar, but there's some pretty vocal instructions coming from the corner sat right next to us at ringside.
I can order myself 4 beers. I think that's about it.
Might not be very useful here.
I think he'll be happy to take just a single shot, Charlie Senior, if it means he can almost slowly advance his front foot forward and almost draw Arce into an attack.
And that's what I was talking about earlier.
There you go. You mentioned that second shot. I mean, it is so fast. Blink and you miss it type stuff. And then to get himself out of range again and almost look like Arce 2 or 3 seconds behind where Charlie Senior is in the ring.
Senior looked after by Al Smith and Eddie Lamb. Got some good fighters in that gym. Sky Nicholson, Sam Noakes, to name a couple. You know what they say, success breeds success.
Even when he misses a shot, Charlie Senior is happy to hold that pose and almost invite Arce to come back in and maybe presume that he's off balance, but happy then to hold his pose and throw another left hand, another right hand down the middle.
Arce just got through that right hand there. Moments before that, Al Smith shouted for Senior not to overreach, kind of left that right hand out there probably longer than Smith wanted him to have it there. Good short right hand. That is his signature shot, Senior, is that whipping overhand right. He throws it with some genuine venom. And he ain't slowing down, is he?
No, he's not. Very fluid, very quick on his feet as well. Almost bouncing around the ring. You can see now the breakdancing type footwork that he would have learnt as a kid comes into play, and looks like he's having real fun in the ring too.
Well, did you know that this is the first ever major professional boxing night that this ground has ever held, Oscar?
I didn't, but somehow I believe in myself that it might not be the last.
Well, Adam Alanian sat ringside. He's coming up a little bit later on. He's from a fighting family. He comes from an Irish mother and a Nigerian father. His dad was a boxing coach and a boxer himself. And well, almost always it follows in the family, doesn't it?
It does. Prior to Charlie tonight, we'd seen Leighton Birchall, one of 3, and his brother William opening the show with an emphatic finish inside what felt like 5 seconds was probably more like 30 to 40 seconds. It normally is a family affair. The roots go back through the father or an uncle, and you were taken to the gym, you smelt the leather for the first time and you're automatically hooked. That's how it normally works, and that's the same with Adam and his father, who was a boxing coach, like you said.
Well, creeping towards the halfway mark in this one. There's that sharp jab again from Senior. Just throws it, dips down and gets underneath the returning right hand of Arce over and over again. The amount of times that that jab from Arce goes over the shoulder or over the head of Senior. And that wasn't a knockdown, he was just dragged down there more than anything. And Mark Bates will let them crack on immediately.
Very eager to get back going, Charlie Senior. Just had to be told by Mark Bates, give me a second, let me separate the two. Just took a left though to the right temple there, did Senior. Almost like a slapping left from Arce.
With 2 Olympians on this prelims card this evening. You're watching one of them at the moment, and the next one is Lasha Guruli, who's only the 2nd Georgian to ever win an Olympic medal in the boxing for his country. He's the final fight on our prelim card. He's in there against Liam Dillon a little bit later on. And then our fight after this one will be Iman Zamatkesh, another South Coast fighter, who's fighting Frank Aronzi, who appeared on that Dubois Wardley undercard against Mike Perez last time out. That should be a good one. But back to this one. The action continues. And Charlie Senior doing a good job of fighting at a distance where he can get his work off well, but his feet will get him out of trouble whenever he needs them to.
Yeah, he knows you can rely on his speed to get him into situations, but also get him out of situations too. Nice left hand. He's so relaxed when he throws that left hand too. It's almost like he's too cool. The shoulders are dropped and just bouncing his way around the ring.
Well, last few seconds in this round, Senior finishing it strong. It's like when he hears that. I tell you what, watch him in the next round. If we get to the clapper, it changes all of a sudden. He gets right up for it, does Charlie Senior, and just starts really letting his hands go, and becomes very stylish all of a sudden.
I'm wondering if I could nick the clapper and do it with 1 minute 30 left in the round and see what sort of Charlie Senior we get for 90 seconds.
Go on, sneak off. The board will never notice. Well, so far, so good. And if you've literally just switched us on, there are still 2 fights to come after this one before the main card is live on DAZN all around the world from 7 p.m. And Ryan Garner, of course, tops against Michael Magnesi, the Italian. It is the WBC #1 versus the WBC #2, who will be in for a shot at that WBC Super Featherweight Championship of the world. Round 5 then. Charlie Senior meets his man in the middle and straight off the cuff with a straight left hand. And there's that lead hook of his, nice and short. Just sends Arce stumbling ever so slightly, but back to his strict boxing business. Good timing there from Senior with that straight left hand of his. Threw it a couple of times as he switched stance there.
I like that, just throwing a couple of feints before he throws a jab, just to throw Arce off. Almost make him change his point of guard.
Lovely lead hook there from Senior. Just going through the motions now. Just keeps changing his distance in terms of how far he is from the Argentine, who's still coming back with some shots, but they're not effective because Senior just keeps coming back almost immediately. Like you said a bit earlier on, actually, Oscar, that it's almost like he's happy to take one if he can get 3 or 4 of his own off.
Yeah, and you mentioned about him changing the range that he's in, depending on the shot he wants to throw. It's almost like he picks his perfect range, and then he'll go, right, now I know I'm in range to throw a hook to the body, to throw that uppercut through the guard. There is one shot I feel like he might be looking for a little bit too much, and that's just the right hand after the jab, but
Arce sinks in the left hook to the body. And again, Senior comes straight back.
Really strong attack.
Oh, heavy right hand to the body there from Senior. He enjoyed throwing that one and the one that followed. And that is it. He works the body, just tries to lower the hands of the Argentinian. Then that signature big overhand right comes in of his, and it comes in with some force and an unbelievable speed. Not the easiest shot in the world to defend against, that's for sure. And we now find ourselves in the 5th round of a potential 8-round contest. And more as each one of these rounds have passed, Senior, he's practically beaten his man to the punch 99% of the time. And I don't think I'm unfair in saying that.
No, not at all. Really enjoying himself in there. He's almost in a flow state. Now he knows he can beat his man to the punch. He knows he's quick enough to avoid whatever's coming back. He's moving his man round the ring as well, left and right, angles, almost circling him as well, which will be wearing out Arce. Really, really strong last couple of rounds from Charlie Senior.
Well, Senior will ever so slightly turn the tempo up, turn the heat up as the rounds go by. This is only fight number 5 for him. Of course, he would have gained an unbelievable amount of experience as an amateur, representing Australia, travelling all around the world. And because of that amateur experience, he would have, without doubt, boxed almost every different style you can possibly think of. And they are two different sports, the amateurs and the pros. But it certainly gives you a bit of a head start. Round 6, here we go then. Both fighters straight to the centre of the ring as we see their image on the gigantic pitch side screen as people start to take their seats in here. Still relatively quiet, but it won't be later on.
It will be a cauldron of noise later on, a brilliant main card coming up to, and I think it just shows the strength of the cards that Queensbury are putting on at the moment, that Lasher Garuli and Liam Dillon can sit at the apex of these prelims. Been really entertaining so far. We've had a mix of good prospects, well, all good prospects, but a mix in opponents of some who've come to do their job, but some who've brought the fire too. That's exactly what Arce is doing, but not to much avail. Charlie Senior has been too quick to the punch, too quick out of the attacks as well. I think he's looked brilliant in the 6 rounds we've seen tonight.
Well, just on the the left-hand side of Arce, there is a lot of quite heavy reddening all around that area, and that is because of that right hook, which Senior has just been digging into his ribs over and over and over again. He's going to know he's been in a fight in the morning, that's for sure.
So may Senior, by the looks of it. There's some, I think, reddening, maybe blood around the nose. Not sure if that's from a punch, from a head clash, or maybe blood from Arce that's transferred onto the face of Charlie Senior. But it seems to be, I think it's trickling from the left nostril, maybe.
Yeah, definitely a little bit of blood there on the nose of Senior. He lands another big, heavy right hand. He's adept at working at that distance, just constantly trying to stick that jab in Arce's face to irritate him, to distract him, because then he throws right hands like that which follow. And the accuracy is improving as each moment of this fight goes by. Arce isn't standing there and doing nothing, no. He's coming back, but it's just not having the effect which he wants it to.
Yeah, I think he needs to think of a way sharp to get himself back into this fight. His attacks have almost really softened up. You can see, I mentioned Charlie Senior was happy to take one to give one, but I think he will be even more so now that the attacks don't really seem to be coming with any venom from Arce.
Well, last few seconds in this 6th round. Another good round there for Senior. What do you think that Al Smith and the team in that corner are saying to Charlie at this moment? Because he's doing plenty of good work, but is there anything that you've seen which you think they're probably going to mention?
When he does double up that jab, don't always follow it with a right hand over the top. I think now what we're 6 rounds deep, Arce will be expecting when he sees that double jab that a right hand might follow. Maybe mix up the punches a little bit after the double jab, continue everything coming off the jab though, right? It's the foundation of a fighter, so continue it all off the jab. Maybe try and up the tempo a notch, 2 more rounds in, burn the energy that you've got inside and really take it to Arce and see if you can force some kind of stoppage in the final 2 rounds. If it doesn't come, no worries, but continue what you're doing. Maybe mix up the variation a touch and just be careful not to get in range, because he's still dangerous, is Arce.
Perfectly put, Oscar, but this is the penultimate round. Senior nice and busy with that left hand. That jab, doubling it up, turning it into a left hook, keeping Arce guessing.
It's quite unorthodox when he lands a right hand, he kind of holds it behind his head.
I was just going to say that.
It's like a pose.
It's quite unique, actually, isn't it, what he does?
I think it's one for Lee Dorney, the Queensbury cameraman, just to let him know, look, now's your time. Take a nice picture of me so I can celebrate my victory
Maybe
on Instagram.
that's the code. Lovely left hook to the body there from Senior. If he can land that on the liver, Arce will have a world of problems. There's that right hand over the top and tries to tuck in the uppercut under the guard immediately after.
I like the fact that Senior's jab isn't just upstairs. He's happy to jab to the body and just soften Arce up and also keep him guessing. Right, if your double jab's always upstairs, your opponent can preempt what you're going to do. Jab downstairs, leave some opening upstairs, and then he can actually really look for that right hand that he's been trying to look for the 7 rounds.
Nicely timed with the right hand there from Senior. But Arce, hats off to him. Here we are, halfway through the 7th round, and he has just kept coming forward. You know, he's not necessarily been negative, has he? But the attacks just get soaked up, and then Senior goes again.
Yeah, he was never going to shy away from a fight, never going to shy away from some of these battles and comings together. Find the speed is what's put Charlie Senior a level above so far in this fight, but he was never going to shy away. He's happy to take shots, he's happy to throw shots, and hopefully happy to take risks so we can see maybe something a little bit different in the last minute here or the final 3 minutes of the 8th and final round.
Both throw the left hook at exactly the same time. Senior slipping that jab, just trying to find the right moment to get that big right hand of his flowing. So just taps to the body over and over again, but overreached there. Arce made him miss. Gets caught with a left hook though, didn't he?
Yeah, that's one thing you won't want to be doing.
I don't know about you, but I just feel like this fight's absolutely flown by. It only feels like a few moments ago the opening bell sounded, and there's the, well, not the final bell, but the final bell of the round. Good fight.
Yeah, really good fight. Almost like a ball to a matador at the end, leaving the red sheet out and just ducking round Arce as he almost sprint at him in the final couple of seconds of that fight. I do agree with you. It feels like this fight has flown by. It feels like this, I was going to say night, it's still blue skies and sun, but I feel like it's flown by as a whole, this prelims. We've still got 2 fights to come after this on the prelims and an excellent main card. Time flies when you're having fun.
Certainly does. Hope all of you in Australia watching your man Charlie Senior enjoying it. I think it's the early hours of the morning there. So good day to you, and good day to Royston Barney Smith as well, who's taking his seat ringside. Another talented fighter in and around this weight category. He's going to be good to watch, isn't he?
He's a brilliant fighter. So fluid, so technical, but also got that real venom in his punches, spiteful and powerful. He's going to go a long way.
Arce, with his chin to his chest, doing exactly the same thing which he's done for the past, well, 7 and a bit rounds, just walking forward, gets caught with a right hand there. And I wonder if those second phase of attacks, which Charlie Senior does come up with, could cause a few more problems for Arce. Oh, that was a whipper, that one, wasn't it? That right hand was really, really vicious. And Arce said that it landed, I think, probably behind the ear, and he wasn't too happy about it, but Mark Bates allows the action to continue.
I'm not sure how that could have landed behind the back of the ear when he was quite square on Arce there. He landed a good right hand before that, and I did say I wonder if he will kind of up the tempo and try and turn this fight on its head, Arce, and give Charlie Senior something to really think about. But it's been a real fast start from both men, but Charlie Senior again just showing his extra little bit of class at the start of this final round.
I think that's a great word to use, actually, Oscar. Is class. That is what you get with Senior, I believe. He's going to go up the levels and he's going to have tougher opponents. And the people who they're putting in front of him, he's beaten them well. But he is a classy fighter. And I think that's what makes the fights go by actually quite quickly. Is because he makes it look relatively easy at times. They're quite easy to watch.
And if you're making an opponent like Arce look quite simple at times, it just shows you're on the right trajectory. Brilliant hand speed in this fight. I think that's been the most impressive thing for me. Look, he's hung with the best in the amateurs, we know that, and it's whether it can translate to the professional game. Now the pressure's ramped up a little bit, but he looks like he just loves being under the lights and, yeah, having real fun in there.
Senior dancing now, but gets caught ever so slightly with a right hand on the chin. But his hands are low, and he dances around and switches to the southpaw stance.
Yeah, I think that'll be something that Al Smith would want to maybe pull him up on after the fight, but he won't be able to pull him up on too much. I think he's been really good in there tonight. There's been some exchanges as well where Arce's been really forceful and kind of tried to really cement himself in there, but just too quick, too fast, and yeah, really good shot selection. I think he's been brilliant tonight.
The last 15 seconds or so in a 8-round contest, which has been good for Charlie Senior. He's had a game opponent who's come at him from all sorts of angles. He has broken him down ever so slightly as the rounds have gone by. But surely Charlie Senior quite comfortably moves to 5-0 as he shows a respect to the team in the opposite corner, and the Southampton sun shines on his skin. I love these stadium fights, these stadium shows. One of my favourite bits about it is as the sun goes down and the arena fills up, you get a real special feel about it, don't you?
Whatever the weather, stadium fights are special. Right, I remember looking out from a couple of rows back and everyone absolutely drenched at Ipswich when Fabio Wardley was fighting Justice Hooney, and it was still special. I've been at Wembley when the sun's shining. Today the sun's shining, it's special. I've been at Tottenham for Tyson Fury in December and it's freezing cold. It's still special. Stadium fights just are special.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 8 rounds of boxing, our referee in charge, Mark Bates, scores the contest 79-73 for your winner and still undefeated, Charlie Senior. Let's now welcome to the ring, Franklin, the Raging Bull Arinze.
Well, no mucking about here, Oscar. Fight. The next fight is about to happen. Franklin Arinze just making his way to the ring from Nigeria. He's one heavy-handed cruiserweight, and last time we saw him, he did take no time at all to announce himself.
And now let's welcome to the ring the undefeated Iman Zamatkesh.
And Iman Zamatkesh, originally from Iran, now based here in the UK and on the south coast. Top fighter. As he walks to the ring, the sound of Neil Diamond, Sweet Caroline, a song which will fill this stadium a little bit later on. This is a man with some explosive hands, so do not go anywhere.
Ladies and gentlemen, this bout is scheduled for 8 rounds, and it will be for the vacant Commonwealth International Cruiserweight Championship. Brought to you by Frank Ward for Queensberry, along with their great sponsors. Mr. Q Casino, That Prize Guy, Riyadh Season, and Global Next Trade. sanctioned by the British Boxing Board of Control, Area Rep Ben Harmsworth, Board Rep Robert W. Smith, along with the Commonwealth Boxing Council. Referee is Bernard Oyette. Introducing first, fighting out of the red corner, he comes to the ring wearing black with silver and weighed in officially at 198.4 pounds. A native of Nigeria, he is now fighting out of Newcastle, England, and has a professional record of 10 wins, just 1 defeat. 7 of his 10 wins come by way of knockout. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Franklin, the Raging Bull Arinze. And his opponent across the ring, fighting out of the blue corner, he comes to the ring wearing red trunks and weighed in officially at 198.9 pounds. Hailing from Chichester, England, he is undefeated with 5 wins. 4 of his 5 wins come by way of knockout. Ladies and gentlemen, here is Iman Zametkish.
All right, gentlemen, I already spoken to both of you in the dressing rooms, so you know what I expect, okay? Keep it clean, keep it professional at all times, and most of all, protect yourself at all times. Shake hands, good luck to both of you.
But a referee just doing the final checks. This is the penultimate fight on the prelims. Iman Zametkish, originally from Iran, now based here in the UK in those red shorts, in there against Franklin Arinze. Last time we saw him was against Mike Perez at the Co-op Live in Manchester. Had a good old scrap with Mike Perez that night. Always comes to win, always in great condition. Got some big heavy hands on him, has Arinze. And Zametkish, 5-0, 4 of those have been done and dusted before the sound of the final bell. Arinze lunges forward with a left hook and looking to get straight to work, Oscar.
Yeah, I've got a feeling this could be a really good fight between these two. Like you said about a man plucked from Iran, now in Chichester, just the 3,000 or so miles away. But again, I go back to the beauty of boxing, right? A worldwide sport now residing on these shores, and 5-0-4 inside the distance. And Arinze, like you said last time at the car, had a brilliant fight with Mike Perez, who himself is obviously a big name and been in some of the biggest fights on the biggest stages. So I just think these two coming together, we can have something really, really interesting here to lead us into the final fight of the prelims.
And going back to something you said a little bit earlier on about the quality of fights, or the fighters which we're seeing on these prelim shows, well, it kind of makes another point, doesn't it, that there's a bit of pressure on fighters to look good and to put on their best performance, because if you want to be on these big cards, especially with the likes of Queensbury, you've got to show them that you're worth it, haven't you?
Absolutely. I can tell you right now, if a man goes in there tonight, looks sensational, and knocks Franklin Arinze out inside 4 rounds, he will be on the main card of a Queensbury show coming up. That's just how it works, right? Frank and the team and Lee and will be looking at these fights and trying to build cards for entertainment purposes, so people know when they're paying and they're watching, they're getting their money's worth. You put in your performance, you'll get shot straight up the card and into the big time, and with that comes titles, comes financial gain too. So it's a big stage, this, prelims or not, and I think these two, from what we've seen so far, are going to fight like it's a big stage too. They're going at it already.
They absolutely are, and both have landed some fairly decent shots in this opening round as we go into the last 40 seconds. Good right hand there from Arinze. Zametkish got to have his eyes wide open here. And he just loses balance there. Nice right hand over the top again. That's a shot which is working for Arinze. Landed it 2 or 3 times quite successfully, the Nigerian. 7 of his wins have come by way of knockout, and plenty of those were in the first couple of rounds as well. So it just shows that early on, that seems to be when he's most dangerous. But Zamatkesh at the end of that round, Oscar, is shaking his head at the shots which were landed on him. But sometimes that means that it did register, and it's a bit of mind games.
Yeah, sometimes it's almost to make your opponent think that the shots aren't doing any damage. He definitely landed the majority of the shots in that round. Franklin Arinze, I will say, when he's landing these shots, he's very flat-footed, he's planting his feet, and he might be putting a lot of power behind them, but there's definitely a chance that in these exchanges, if a man catches him correctly, he can put him to the deck. Very flat-footed, quite square on, but I tell you what, he's throwing with real intent. So, yeah, like I said, I've got a feeling something exciting might happen over these 8 rounds.
We'll see what the rounds have to offer. But a man, Zamatkesh, is a man with a story. He fled Iran and has been vocal about his experiences. Somebody who stood up for what he felt was right. He found boxing when he came to the UK. Did well in the amateurs. Actually had a wonderful scrap with Pat Brown in the 2022 National Amateur Final. And here he is in fight number 6 of his professional career. And it certainly isn't an easy fight or an easy opponent who is stood in front of him, as both men meet in the middle and start exchanging jabs immediately.
He's got a big frame, Arinze, big shoulders, big arms, ripped to shreds as well. Look like he's been putting in the work in the gym, but you can just see that when he gets up close, he tries to really use that size and kind of push and press him on. Maybe with the intention of tiring him out as the rounds go on, but Iman just needs to find his range, do what he done there, find his range, land a shot, scoot back off to the left or right and reset himself and go again.
Well, Arinze doing exactly the same as what Zamatkesh was doing at the end of that round. He got caught with a couple of short right hands and just looks at his man and shakes his head to say, nope, didn't get through. But the amount of times which I've sat here with fighters and they've said, I promise you, it did get through. And that's exactly why you're getting that response. But good response there from Zamatkesh, who goes down to the body, then stands in front of his man and uses his feet to get away from danger as that big long jab from a Nigerian comes flying towards his nose.
Both men now shaking their heads at what's coming back from either one, trying to convince maybe themselves as well as their opponent that what's landing isn't taking effect.
Both just trying to work each other out, feinting with their feet, with their hands. Who's going to fall for it first? What we don't want is those two to just become tied up and that to dampen the flow of the fight. Because if these two stand at range and throw some bombs at each other, like you said, we could have something good on our hands here. But good right hand over the top from Arinze, and an uppercut comes straight back there from Zamatkesh.
Yeah, I know I said it in the first round, but just to reiterate, I feel like he's very flat-footed, Arinze, and he's almost there to be dropped if a man can time his punches right. Flying into some of these exchanges with his heels on the floor.
I guess it's a case of whether he stands in the same place for a long enough period where Zamatkesh can time him right. You look at Zamatkesh's style, he's very upright, isn't he? Everything about him, he's very upright. Even when he's dancing on his toes. If anything, his chin's probably a little bit high.
It's almost like that middle European style that we used to see in the early 2000s from a lot of the light heavies, cruisers and heavyweights. Quite upright, stiff jab.
It's a good point. There's a little bit of Klitschko about it, isn't there? That kind of chest up high, chin up high. Some positive body language. But not a bad opener.
No, not a bad opener. Just warming into this fight. There's been enough exchanges to kind of keep us happy, keep us going. I think there's a bit more that both can give. I'd love to know what input is being said in the Aman corner, because I think they will have been watching this fight and realising that the opportunities and chances are there for him to land big shots. But he also needs to be careful. He's got a man standing in front of him, a man mountain standing in front of him who can punch. So, yeah, it should be intriguing to see what happens in this next round.
Your observation around Arinze being relatively flat-footed at times, and I guess that means that he could be caught at the right time. there are definitely moments where Zamatkesh is exactly the same. Maybe not flat-footed, but he'll stick around in the same position with his chin up. And I just wonder if Aronzade emptied the tank for 30 seconds, whether he could have a bit of success. And, well, and whether we'll even see that.
Yeah, it's a good point. I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing a 30-second exchange where both men almost just don't move their feet and start swinging for the heels and potentially see what we get. But yeah, both men are very happy to stand in the same position, plant their feet, and I guess that also does mean throw with kind of maximum power, maximum effort.
Some heavy shots are coming in from both men here. Each shot landed with some sound which follows. And Aronzade doing a good job of just sticking that jab in the face of Zamatkesh, trying to irritate him. But he swings and misses with the left hook, and both of them are smiling and talking to each other in there.
Lovely left to the body from Zamatkesh.
Aronzade feinting with that, well, with the shoulder more than anything, just trying to make Zamatkesh fall for it. Which he did, but he didn't capitalise on it at all.
I think sometimes he's lunging in quite early without knowing what shot he's going to throw, Franklin Arinze, and it kind of ends up a little bit messy with his arms just flailing towards Zamatkesh. Good combination there, good combination in return too.
The Aronzade corner encouraging him to get back on his jab, keep sticking that jab out there non-stop.
Watch the pace, Frank, he's not run.
Just heard the Franklin corner say, push the pace, he's knackered. So, and this is a man who's just done 8 rounds with Mike Perez, so there's definitely a tank in Franklin Arinze. If he can drag this late, it will definitely be a fight that he feels will be swinging in his favour.
And the tempo he fought that Perez fight at was
staggering.
It was non-stop, so, and it wasn't even that long ago, so he's a fit and durable customer. But whether Zamatkesh really is knackered or not is another thing. I'm not convinced he is. Are you?
Not yet. I can see why they think some of the punches he's thrown and the way he's moving around the ring for a man of his size, if he continues on that path, that it might be a tricky end to the fight in terms of keeping up that tempo. But no, I don't think he's tired yet. I don't think either man's tired as of yet. Only 3 rounds into the fight, but a nice and busy 3 rounds from the pair. This is really heating up.
Talking of heating up, I wish I put some sun cream on. We're getting absolutely blasted here, Oscar.
One side of my face is going to be red tomorrow morning.
Listen, I'm a redhead. I normally wear the Factor 50 war paint. I burn in the winter, I do. But interesting so far between these two. I just think we need to see a couple of moments where they really put their foot down and go for it and just see how the other reacts.
Wouldn't it be nice if it was this round that we got it? To opening up this 4th round with some leather thrown from each man.
The Aronzade corner keep repeating that they reckon Zamatkesh is knackered. Stick that jab in his face. That's what they think. A good left hand there by Aronzade. Did catch Zamatkesh, who's just trying to keep hold of him now. And he could be in a little bit of trouble here. And Aronzade doing a good job of stopping Zamatkesh grabbing hold of him, but this is getting a little bit messy.
There were 2 flush shots landed. Originally, it was a bit messy in the corner then, but he's landed a right and then a left on the ropes. Wrestled to the floor. Iman Zamatkesh in the end, but He's well on top at the start of the fourth here, Franklin Arinze.
Well, you literally said, I wonder if we'll see him let Amina go, and that was a really good left there from Franklin Arinze. Can he land another decent one like that? There it is, but it lands on the right glove of Zamatkesh in the corner of Arinze. I've been saying that Zamatkesh is knackered, and we are now starting to see it.
I think they're going to throw the towel in.
And he does look like he's in a world of trouble here as he looks at the referee and tries to convince him that he is okay, but Arinze needs to put his foot down now and really go for it, and this could be a fantastic stoppage win for him. There goes another left hook in the right hand. Zamatkesh needs to come back with something decent. He needs to convince his corner and the referee that he's still in this fight.
Take a step back, front and go.
I saw the towel in the corner, and then Sonny Edwards almost hushed it down and said, give him his chance.
There's another big left hook there from Arinze. Can he land something which finishes the job as Zamatkesh looks to his corner and then back to his opponent? And he's got two opponents in front of him right now. One is the man from Nigeria, the other one is the clock, because we've got just over a minute left in this round. And Zamatkesh needs to stop Arinze from working.
I mean, he's clinging on for dear life. But Franklin Arinze is just trying to make the room, get the range to let any shot off, be it body, be it head, just anything. He can land on Zamatkesh to add to what he's landed so far. I really think this is on the brink.
Well, just over 35 seconds to go, and both of them are absolutely knackered. You can tell that by looking at the deep breaths, and both of them breathing through open mouths, and Zamatkesh may well see this round out as we go into the last 20 seconds. And the corner team stare at their man, the man from the South Coast, just to see if he can get through. And did Sonny Edwards do the right thing in terms of hushing that towel down?
Maybe so, and the problem now, not just in the Aman corner, but in the Franklin Arinze corner, will be how you come out for the fifth round. You would have spent a lot of energy on those attacks, but my word, Iman, Zamatkesh has done well to come through. It was an absolute onslaught. There were right hands, there were left hands. He was up against the ropes on the deck on his knee. Somehow, this fight will be going in to a fifth round.
But that was absolutely the round of the fight so far. And Zamatkesh taking some big, deep breaths in the corner. And so he's Franklin Arinze as well. I think they've both got to come out, Oscar, and just give it some, haven't they? They've really got to let their hands go, because they're both completely knackered. And all it takes is one shot in these big, heavier divisions, and these cruiserweights can punch.
Yeah, it's no secret that when you're fatigued, the quality dips. So they might be better, both men, really giving it their all for this round and the next round and seeing what sticks.
Zamatkesh straight out, just trying to put his shots together. And the corner team of Arinze with the same advice they had for him in the previous round. Stick the jab in his face, he's knackered. Just keep piling the pressure on him, keep going. Make life difficult for him. Both of them need space to work. Both of them need distance to get their shots off.
Seems a lot more content to hold Iman Zamatkesh at the start of this fifth round. A minute can seem like a long time, but a minute would have felt like a short time to him as he was sitting on that stool in the corner, knowing that the fifth round was looming after what was a tumultuous fourth round. He was discombobulated, he was everywhere. But he's still in this fight, and that is the most important thing.
Nice uppercut from Arinze as he leant in and then just stepped back ever so slightly and landed a big, horrible right uppercut there. But Zamatkesh took it well, comes forward once again. And dare I say it, Zamatkesh is back in the fight, Oscar.
He is back in the fight. I do want to ask the question if either of forgot how to jab at the start of this fifth round is made for a brilliant watch. It's a real war between these two. It's up close, it's dirty, there's heads and elbows, but my word, is it entertaining.
Well, how they're going to do another 9 minutes after this when the sound of the 5th bell rings is a question only they know the answer to.
I don't think they are, Darren. I don't think they can. I cannot see this going the full 8. I'm not sure about you. I just can't.
Well, both of them look absolutely exhausted as Aronze swings and misses with the uppercut, and a sloppy right hand over the top follows. And as you said, the quality does decrease as the fatigue sets in, which is only natural. And this is where fighters have to dig deep. They have to find something from somewhere. And Aronze will be desperate to be victorious in this fight more than ever, after losing a close points decision against Mike Perez on that magnificent card just a few weeks ago. And he almost did in that previous round. He just didn't quite have the energy to finish the job.
I think both men are about to be delighted with that noise right there. Both absolutely blowing. I don't know how they've managed to keep up such a tempo for the 5th round after what was a chaotic 4th, mainly a chaotic 4th for Iman Zamatkesh, but the energy expelled between the pair. So it looks like they're running on fumes. I would like to see one of them when they're up close just maybe unleash a few uppercuts and try something a bit different, because it is turning a little bit messy. Just wondering how this 6th round is going to play out. Genuinely have no idea, and I guess that's the beauty of a fight like this. We could get anything as we go into the next round.
Sometimes you see fights and you're watching them unfold and you think there's no way that these guys can get to the, in this case, the 8th and final round. I've just got a feeling that it might do. It's going to be messy. It's going to be sloppy at times. My gut feeling is we will see all 8 rounds, unless somebody can land something very clean. The referee warns them about punches to the back of the head before this round commences, because it was definitely getting a bit messy towards the end of the 5th. And Aronze, again, just trying to get that jab straight into the face of Zamatkesh, who stands there in the centre of the ring and just trying to get his work flowing and going. About 15 seconds, 20 seconds went by there, where they practically just stood in the centre of the ring and stared at each other.
Get your jab in his face, Frank. That's it.
Just on the same wavelength, basically looking at each other going, we both need this. We really need this.
Should we have 20 seconds off? Yeah.
I've just seen young prospect Lee Rogers come round and talk to the Aronze corner. I'm not sure if he was trying to give tips, something he can see sitting opposite us next to Queensbury matchmaker, but it's a lovely uppercut from Franklin Aronze. I think that's the shot that they need to kind of separate themselves from these messy up close exchanges. Just let a couple of uppercuts go, 3 or 4.
Aronze trying to get that right uppercut off, isn't he? Over and over again. Maybe, we know that one that works, but if you throw it so often, Zamatkesh is starting to read it, isn't he? And he knows it's coming. Good right hand there by Zamatkesh. And there's another one. Can he land a follow-in?
He definitely felt that, did Franklin Aronze.
If you've literally just turned the telly on, the 4th round of this, Franklin Aronze was so close to finishing Iman Zamatkesh, and it looked like the corner team were going to throw the towel in, but Sonny Edwards in that corner said, hang on a minute, I think he's going to be okay. And as it stands, it seems like that was the right decision, Oscar.
Yeah, now he's standing there shouting, touch, touch, sink to Iman Zamatkesh.
Zamatkesh definitely starting to become the person on top as we go into the last few seconds of this round.
He's definitely holding on more now.
Arinze holding on for dear life at the end, wasn't he?
100%. You can tell the fatigue has been set in for a good few rounds from the pair, but yeah, this is just, well, from the second round onwards, erupted into close quarters chaos. I mean, I know we always use the fight in a phone booth cliche. Genuinely, this could have been in a phone booth. They're standing on each other's feet and leaning on each other's shoulders. This is a real up-close personal war, and that's making for a great watch.
You can tell that Zamatkesh knows what he needs to do, and the corner are screaming at him to work, because the work which he is doing when Franklin Arinze is completely exhausted leaning on him is good. But you can tell that he just hasn't got the energy levels left. He hasn't got the battery percentage to do it for a long enough period for it to be effective enough to finish the job. He's doing well, but he could actually get this done, couldn't he? But I don't know if he's got it in him. I don't know if he's got anything left to allow him that kind of burst which he needs.
I think if both men just had an extra 15% in the tank, then this fight would be quite readily available to finish now on the spot. But it's just finding that. They'll feel sluggish, their arms will feel slow, their footwork will feel slow, and it wasn't the quickest from the pair to start off with.
Sonny Edwards in the corner screaming for Zamatkesh to just keep punching. It doesn't matter what punches they are, just keep punching Zamatkesh. That's the message from the corner. And he is punching, but they're just light pitter-patter punches, and every now and again, like that big right hand of a hook. But I think 75% of them need to be like that. Arinze looking more knackered now than he has in this fight at any moment. And the corner team encouraging Zamatkesh to keep going forward.
And I think that was long overdue.
That was always coming, wasn't it? A crash and a tumble, or a tumble and a crash. Aman could genuinely dig deep here and finish this in the 7th round and win the vacant international Commonwealth title at the Cruiserweight division. And he runs at him, and there's a sense of urgency about him at last. I think he's got a bit of a dopamine hit and seen the confidence there.
I think the 20 seconds of doing absolutely nothing, getting his breath back, whilst listening to everyone tell him, it's on, bring the heat, bring the fire.
And again, Arinze says, I ain't going anywhere yet, and lands a couple of good right hands of his own. Lovely left hook there by Arinze. We can't write this man off, because every single time that we do, he finds a little bit of something from somewhere as we go into the last minute of the penultimate round. Both fighters exhausted, running on fumes. Who's got a tiny bit left?
Up the middle there, Frank.
30 seconds to go, and it definitely looks to me like Zamatkesh is the man who's just about got a bit more urgency, the tiniest higher level in terms of energy levels. That every time something comes at him, Arinze, he does give it a go, doesn't he, Oscar?
He does. I don't envy being a judge for this fight. There are so many shots being thrown. It's hard to tell up close what's landed, what hasn't, what's hit the gloves, what's scuffed the face, what's missed. What a chaotic 7th round.
Well, hats off to both men, because it is seriously tough being in there. And they were exhausted 2 or 3 rounds ago. So 6 9 minutes later, both of them still chucking bombs at each other and receiving them. And it's the wrestling as well, isn't it? It's the wrestling which zaps the energy, and there's been so much of that. And these are two big, heavy guys with a point to prove.
Yeah, they say leave it all in the ring, and well, I think these guys left it all in the ring by the 5th and 6th round. There's one more round to go. Interested to see how these two come out. It really is all up for grabs here. One man hitting the deck could swing this fight. There is still a chance that either men could also get stopped. We are going into the 8th and final round with every possibility on the table.
You could tell that Aranze is just in one particular mode, because before the bell even sounded and the referee allowed them to start the 8th round, he started throwing punches. Not in a malicious way, just because he's turned on and has just got one mode, and that is go forward, keep throwing punches, and don't stop. Left hook from Aranze. And Zamatkesh slips it on the outside, comes back with a counter right uppercut.
Yeah, it's one thing knowing you've got 9 minutes left or 6 minutes in the fight, but when you know it is the final round, the next time the bell rings, you will either be a winner or a loser, or shares will be spoiled, knowing that this is it now. They will just give that extra inch, find that extra couple of percent that they didn't know they had, and run their tank empty.
Zamatkesh is doing something at all times. It might not be big, powerful shots, but he's hitting his man, tapping his man on the head. And Aranze just throwing bombs out of absolutely nowhere. When he's looked exhausted, he comes back stronger. It kind of wakes him up as he comes back yet again with a left hook. Who will have their hand raised at the end of this one? Will we have a draw in our hands? Both of them just standing in front of each other. It's kind of you go, I go. Right uppercut from Zamatkesh. Another right hook and a left hook comes back from Aranze. And this has turned into a great fight here at St Mary's in Southampton.
I feel like Zamatkesh knows it could be there for the taking with 70 seconds to go in this fight. He's on weaker legs now, Aranze.
Aranze can barely keep his hands up. And Zamatkesh, that big tall stance, weighing his man down. Just exhausting him even more as the corner continuously say they need to beat him to the punch, and Aranze finds himself on the canvas again.
I can't imagine he's going to be too swift to get himself up and back into action here.
Well, it's exhausting getting up when you're that knackered anyway. Never mind when you've got Zamatkesh coming flying at you, throwing punches, and you've got to throw him back. And the corner have just said to Aranze, 40 seconds, do you want it or not? How will the psychology play in his brain? As there is light at the end of the tunnel, that final bell is just 30 seconds away.
I think one thing we cannot doubt about either men is how much they've wanted this. They have put every single ounce into this fight. They're almost ingrained in the canvas, the pair of them. They have left it all in the ring. Zamatkesh waves his right hand as if to say, this is mine, as we enter the last 10 seconds. What a fight, messy at times, but sometimes these brutal ones can be beautiful, and that was, what a fight. Well done to the pair.
A brilliant fight. Congratulations to the pair of them for putting on a show, and those who have taken their seat here at St Mary's enjoyed that one. You could just tell those who don't know either of these fighters were whistling and were transfixed by the action in front of them. How they carried on after that 4th round, I'll never know. They were both out on their feet from exhaustion more than anything. Patel nearly came in. And I'll tell you what, it's going to be interesting to hear what the scorecards say here. Do you think a draw is a possibility, Oscar?
I don't think it will be a draw. I think it's going to be edged to Imam, but there is not
Ladies
a
and
possibility
gentlemen,
on
after
here
8
that would
rounds of
surprise me.
boxing, we go to our referee in charge, Bernard Oyet's scorecard. He has it 77-74 for your winner, and now the Commonwealth International Cruiserweight Champion, Iman Zametkesh.
Well, Iman Zametkesh gets it. It isn't a draw. Franklin Arizay looks disappointed with that, but he shouldn't be disappointed with the performance which he put in, because very few people can do what those two fighters did in those 8 rounds.
And now let's welcome to the ring, Liam, the hardest scaffolder, Dylan.
Well, no mucking about here at St Mary's. Here comes 30-year-old Londoner Liam
And
Dillon.
now we welcome Lasha Guruli. Ladies and gentlemen, this bout is scheduled for 8 rounds in the super lightweight division. Our referee in charge is Bernard Oyet. Introducing first in the red corner, he comes to the ring wearing blue with white and weighed in officially at 141.11 pounds. Hailing from London, England, he has a professional record of 16 wins, 5 defeats, 1 draw. 3 wins come by way of knockout. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Liam, the hardest scaffolder, Dylan. And across the ring, fighting out of the blue corner, he comes to the ring wearing red with white and weighed in officially at 141.12 pounds. Hailing from Rustavi, Georgia, he was a 2024 Olympic bronze medalist, now undefeated as a professional. 3 wins, 1 of his 3 wins comes by way of knockout. Ladies and gentlemen, here is Lasha Guruli.
Right, gentlemen, 8 rounds, keep it clean, keep it professional at all times, and most of all, protect yourself at all times. Good luck to both check-ins.
But this is the final fight on our prelim section of this card. Liam Dillon in the blue shorts in there against Paris 2024 Olympic bronze medalist Lasha Guruli of Georgia. This one scheduled for 8 in the lightweight division. That was a nice left hook to kick this round off from Lasha Guruli. Liam Dillon, former British champion, Southern Area champion, English champion. Also a former opponent of Ryan Garner, who headlines here this evening.
Yeah, it says a lot about how they think of Lasha Guruli, a former opponent of Ryan Garner, like you mentioned, Reece Bellotti, Pierce O'Leary, who we saw put in a brilliant performance in Dublin recently, and back on August the 1st. He's been in with some of the best, Liam Dillon, and only in his fourth professional fight, Lasha Guruli has him in the opposite corner.
Dillon always gives a good account of himself, as you mentioned. Some of the other fighters who he's been in there with did well against an unbelievable talent in Pierce O'Leary on that undercard of Fabio Wardley versus Justice Hooney when the rain lashed down at Portman Road in Ipswich. And he's also a full-time scaffolder, balancing that with a professional boxing career. Ain't bad going at all. And here he is in against Lasha Guruli, who was a sensational amateur, medalled at 3 World Amateur Championships, and then ticked the biggest one off the list, which is winning some form of Olympic medal at the last games. He's a slick operator, is Guruli. But he's got a proper game opponent in front of him here. And Liam Dillon will just keep coming all night, won't he, Oscar?
Yeah, he's been in a couple of fight of the year contenders himself. Liam Dillon, that fight with Reece Bellotti at the Indigo 02 springs to mind. He, like you said, always gives us a good account of himself, and that good account comes from pure pressure, pure energy, pure tempo. And yeah, he's not going to be fazed by what stands in front of him tonight. Trust me, that man is fazed by nothing.
Constantly takes hard fights, does Dillon. And this is the words you said, he will not be fazed by anything. But lovely left hook, right uppercut there from the Georgian, Guruli. Last time we saw him was on our Derby show a few months back. Guruli looks quite happy on the back foot though. He doesn't look like he's in any discomfort boxing backwards. He kind of goes in, stabs the jab to the body, then he's straight back on the back foot and invites his opponent in. I guess that's just because he's got confidence in his defence work, isn't he?
Yeah, and he knows from the couple of exchanges they've had so far that Liam Dillon's looking for them short hooks. And if he can pop off that jab and he get himself out of range, he'll nick the points, he'll win the rounds, and he'll get away from the shots that Liam's throwing. Because one thing about Liam Dillon is he doesn't throw shots half-heartedly. Trust me, he'll be putting his all into some of them hooks. He's a real full throttle fighter. It's all or nothing. And trust me, he'll be giving his all in there tonight.
Well, two fighters who will, of course, want to be victorious tonight. Two very different backgrounds and stories. Guruli actually started in judo. I believe it was his dad who wanted him to do judo, but he was spotted by a boxing coach at around 5 years old and started training in boxing, and the rest was pretty much history. Trained in a real spit and sawdust type of gym facility, but since he won the bronze medal at the Olympics and boxing had become a bigger part of the Georgian system, lots of money's been spent on the amateur side of the sport there, and he's definitely played a big part in that, in his successes. And how well he transcends to the professional side of the game will be interesting. But so far, so good. And Liam Dillon's a good opponent to put in front of him, a very good opponent for only his 4 fights. So hats off to him. Big left hook there from Dillon. If that had landed on the whiskers, he'd known about it.
Yeah, his 3 previous fights were against fighters with winning records too, so he's not here to mess about. Jumped into the professional game and jumped in with real intent. No easy fights, no easy nights. Still learning fights, but learning in fights where he's going to have to go through moments of difficulty, where he's going to have to think, sometimes be on the back foot, and that'll be one of the common themes of this fight tonight. Liam Dillon will press and press and press and make sure that Lasha Guruli has no time to just reset and think and kind of gauge his thoughts and rest. And
Liam Dillon, when he fought Zelfa Barrett not that long ago, he was on top of a building site on a scaffold, and the phone went, and his boss said, "That I better be a big promoter offering you a big fight." And he answered it, and it was. And it was an opportunity to fight Zelfa Barrett at very short notice. And that is just the type of character and the type of fighter that he is. And I believe he's had a real good camp for this as well. Like, this isn't a kind of short notice fight. So we are going to see the best possible version of Liam Dillon here.
Yeah, it's a measure of the man that he can be a scaffolder full time and still get himself in the gym, put in a hard camp and get into the ring and perform. It's, you know, no offence to anyone doing any office jobs or even to us sitting here. It's not a job like this, is it? It's a real hard day job to then get yourself into the gym, get yourself into the ring and in tip-top shape. You have to tip your hat to Liam Dillon. He's one of the sport's real unsung heroes.
He really is, and he's just landed a nice right hook to the body there. Guruli took it well. There's a left hook upstairs. Guruli doing well on the back foot, looks comfortable in the process, just trying to keep that jab out. Guruli definitely the taller man. the more rangy of the pair of them, and he's got to use those arms of his, those straight punches, to keep Dylan at bay, but he's going to have his work cut out in the process. But after 2 rounds, what's your gut saying, Oscar?
Good from Garuli on the back foot, knows what he has to do, doesn't want to get too involved and put himself at risk, put himself in trouble, but one thing he's going to find is that for the next 6 rounds that follow, Liam Dillon is not going to shut up shop. He's not going to go on the back foot. He's not going to slip into that negative mindset. It will take almost the same mantra. It's going to be Liam pushing the pace, I believe, and Lasher Garuli on the back foot, but you can see slick boxing skills, nice stiff jab, good footwork. You can really see that sort of amateur sparkle, and it looks like it's translating very well to the pros too.
Well, I think in terms of the corners, it's got to be plenty more of the same. Liam Dillon has just got to keep putting that pressure on non-stop, and he is a pressure fighter anyway, and it is down to Garuli to stop him from doing so. And this round kicks off in exactly the way that the previous round ended, and just how we expected it to. Nice uppercut there from Garuli. As he just circles round and keeps changing direction over and over again. Throws a really nice uppercut, actually, Garuli. Sets it up with a short jab and then pings it up right up the middle. It's a shot which works well because of a size difference and because of the way that Dillon makes his entrance.
Yeah, one thing you won't want to do, Liam Dillon, is enter the exchanges like that. Was a little bit sloppy, just led in with his right hand, almost fell over his own feet. But when he takes his time, when he thinks, when he goes in with a high guard and then whips to the body like that, it automatically puts Lasher Garuli on the back foot and makes him think.
Masterful work with the jab from Garuli. Uses it in all sorts of different ways. That could become quite frustrating, the missing for Dillon, couldn't it? Because, I mean, Garuli's obviously making him miss. He's in the right place and then he's not, because he uses his feet to change the distance between the pair of them. And that's making Dillon fall short. And that could start to become a bit frustrating.
Yeah, and it's mentally and physically draining as well, because you're falling over your lead foot, taking a little bit of a tumble. Mentally, you know you've missed your opponent, and then also physically as well, it's taking something out of you because he puts a lot into those punches, like I said, at the top of this fight. Just wonder if he can maybe find a feint before he lunges in and goes to the body, Liam Dillon. Or maybe spin off to the left or right after throwing that first shot of the exchange.
The last 30 seconds as the sun comes down and just starts to get lower. And the seats ever so slowly at the moment just start to get full. I know plenty of people decided they were going to come along tonight when they saw the weather was going to be fantastic. And it'll be a good crowd for Ryan Garner. A reminder, everything starting live on DAZN from 7 p.m. Have you got a favourite fight in the main card, Oscar?
I think it'll have to be Lyndon Arthur versus Louis Edmondson.
He's got the best jab in boxing, hasn't he?
Well, he has. It's a weapon, that Lyndon Arthur jab. I mean, he's a brilliant fighter, and he's seen it all as well. He's climbed off the deck to win before, former IBO champion of the world. He's fought on the biggest fights. He's fought Dimitri Bivol, one of the best fighters of not just this generation, of the history of the light heavyweight division. Against Louis Edmondson, and I don't think it's too much of a crossroads fight as such, but Lyndon Arthur's been there. He wants to get back there. Louis Edmondson beats Lyndon Arthur. He goes there for the first time into uncharted territory, towards the top of that domestic crop, and maybe even into the European fringe world of the 175-pound division. I think that has to be the fight of the night for me in terms of what's on the line. But I mean, I cannot not be excited about Adam. So much hype around the fighter, so much excitement, a brilliant debut, not in the circumstances he'd have liked, but mate, I cannot wait to see him put on a show here at St Mary's.
Well, Taylor Bevan will open the main broadcast. A reminder, he is 8-0, 8 KOs, and from this neck of the woods. And let me tell you, he brings a right old crowd with him, and all 8 times they've got their money's worth. But back to this one, Liam Dillon, the Londoner, in there against Georgian Lasher Garuli. Dillon in the blue shorts, Garuli in the red and white. And Garuli doing a good job of boxing on the back foot. And Dillon constantly trying to work his man out. Nice combination there, 1-2 lead uppercut. All 3 shots got through.
I can imagine the corner would have told Liam at the end of the third that he needs to just cut off the ring, try and almost pin Lasher Garuli in the corner to give him more of a static target to hit at.
It's almost like Garuli's inviting Dillon in to try and counter. Well, 9 times out of 10 from what we've seen with that straight right hand or the left hook.
I almost think he wants Liam to start the exchange with a right hand. Almost crossing over a bit rather than starting by popping out the jab and then following with a shot.
Nice uppercut on the break there from Garuli.
Good right hand and then very quick to evade the oncoming Liam Dillon there, Garuli.
There's a big right hook to the body there from Dillon. But he gets caught with 5 or 6 uppercuts, then nods and smiles at Garuli. A sign of respect between the pair of them, and appreciation for each other's skill set. Oh, that was a lovely uppercut there from Garuli.
Yeah, that was a tough 10 seconds there for Liam Dillon. Smiled and grinned at the first shots that were landed, but the second one on entrance, it's a brilliant right hand from Garuli, timed to perfection.
Do you know what Garuli does really well? Is he'll throw a few shots and he'll land them. He doesn't get carried away. He doesn't admire his work. But he knows he's done just enough in that little pocket, that moment. And then he moves on and then goes again for the next attack. And that is a skill in itself.
Yeah, and you've got to win the big exchanges. Right, the big exchanges that we see, the ones they would show in the replays. You've got to win those, but you've got to win the small exchanges too, right? There's more small exchanges than big exchanges in a round. And if you win those, you'll check the round off on the judges' scorecard, and he knows as well he can't stand there and admire his work with someone like Liam Dillon, because he will throw shots from the hip. He'll throw big shots as well, so he has to land his 1, 2, 3 at a max and then get himself out of the way, and he's done that very well so far.
The only thing that makes me wonder with Dillon, is he going to start to run out of ideas in the next couple of rounds? Because I'm starting to see glimpses of it in the most respectful way, because of the type of skilled operator that Garuli is. Is he going to be able to come up with something new?
Yeah, stylistically it looks a little bit like that sometimes when you've got a fighter almost, and I don't want to say running at someone, maybe just bringing the pressure, and a fighter on the back foot sometimes when they do miss a couple of times and you see that frustration and they get caught with 1-2, and then the back foot fighter swings his way out the way. It does almost look like they need to find a new idea, or they might be running low on ideas. I think this round will give us kind of a good idea of where Liam Dillon's at. I know he's got a brilliant corner team headed by Rod Julian, who knows his stuff, so I'm sure they're giving him the right pep talk, and yeah, we'll see what we'll get from Liam Dillon in this 5th. That's where he wants him. I know he's almost weaseled his way out, Garuli there, but that's where Liam Dillon will want him, in the corner, just so he can try and hit a static target rather than one that's almost always on his toes.
There's something nostalgic and old school about Liam Dillon's style, you know, that cross guard, the way that he makes the entrance like that, almost a little hunched over. He's got the ingredients of being a real old school fighter, and I guess that old school mentality, as he just continuously launches himself at the Georgian. He was not having it all his own way. He's boxing well. And Dylan's started this round off strong. And he's just got to keep piling the pressure up. Keep making life difficult for Lasha Guruli. And a point you made earlier on, Oscar, is sometimes or often when fighters miss, they use up more energy when they actually land, don't they?
Yeah, absolutely, because you're following through with the punch more than you should. Because it's not landing and you're taking a couple of steps and you're dipping down a little bit. Just what you mentioned about Liam Dillon's kind of throwback style. I feel like he's a bit like how you would choose to fight in a video game, right? You're coming in, it's pure pressure, it's shots, it's hooks, it's relentlessness. There's kind of no break. It's almost, you know, this is how I'm going to fight.
No nonsense, isn't it?
No nonsense, and you're going to have to find a way to deal with that because I'm not going to change. But then I think that might be the worry you said about him running out of ideas. If a fighter knows how to cope with that, where does Liam Dillon go from there?
Well, Hall of Fame promoter Frank Warren has just taken his seat at ringside. Here to watch some of his prospects, not just his prospects, some of his very high achievers on the card. And of course, Ryan Garner, who he's always said he admires and has also said, Oscar, that he would deliver for him. And here we are. And Frank Warren does that over and over again. But here comes Liam Dillon over and over again.
I think he should want to make the most of these last 20 seconds after that bit of success that he had just now, Liam Dillon. But
the last 10 seconds and the timing of Guruli is exceptional. He rides the right hand which comes in from Dillon, and then just as it's ending, he lands a left hook of his own. Seriously skilled.
Yeah, very clever. Just the way he navigated that with the left hand, the right down the pipe, and then the immediate clinch to not allow Dillon to get his work off. He knows Liam likes to work at close range, but he got him in the clinch straight away after landing that straight right hand down the pipe. Really impressive what I'm seeing from Lasha Guruli. And you mentioned the man that's taken his seat, Hall of Fame promoter Frank Warren. Deliver is exactly what he does. He's delivered the stadium fight for Ryan Garner. You mentioned the stadium fights that we've seen that he's delivered for other fighters too, one of them being Dave Allen, who isn't actually a Frank Warren fighter. This man delivers for fighters across the board, and yeah, he's going to be in for a real treat tonight. I think he's put on an excellent card. We're in for a treat ringside, and so are those who'll be watching at home.
Well said, that man. And the action continues after this one, live on DAZN. But Adam, Darren and Barry will be talking you through all of the fights, every single round, all the way up into that Ryan Garner, Michael Magnesi, WBC interim world super featherweight title fight. That will have a bit of everything. They are two blistering fast fighters, and Ryan Garner will be on one this evening.
Yeah, this is an opportunity Ryan Garner cannot let slip. I know he's intent on the American dream. New York, Las Vegas, Dallas, there are many places to tick off, and this is only early really in the world level career of Ryan Garner, but he needs to do the business tonight. And speaking to him in the week, I know he cannot wait to put on a show for those who are here to see him.
Guruli doing his best to put on a show for those ringside watching him, and for you watching around the world. Liam Dillon landed a nice right hand there. There he's. I tell you, I just wonder what you got to do to stop a man like Liam Dillon, actually, because we've seen him get hit with some heavy old shots, and there was 5 or 6 uppercuts which came in a row earlier on, and almost to Guruli's disgust, he kind of smiled at him.
Well, I've seen him walk out the ring after, like I said earlier, some Fight of the Year contenders where his head looks like a balloon, and he's gone to work on Monday morning, so I'm not sure there's much that can really push Liam Dillon off as such. It's more just fending him off your own way, and seeing through the fight and making sure that the quantity of punches you land is higher than the quantity he's landing, because one thing he won't do is he won't sit back.
And he's landed some good shots in this fight. Really good shots. Pavilion and Dylan crowd are in full voice now. As we go into the last 45 seconds of the 6th round. And it's one of those fights, Oscar, where you could watch the 1st round, the 3rd round, or the 6th round, and as long as there was no knockdowns, you probably wouldn't be able to tell the difference, would you?
Yeah, I know exactly what was coming when you said the 1st, the 3rd, and the 6th. It's taken a very similar pattern, this fight, from the 1st bell moving into the end of the 6th here. I'm just wondering what Liam Dillon's corner will say going into the final two, because of course they'll know he'll have energy in the tank, right? This is a man who's gone to war for 10 for 12 before, but they need to find a way to try and make Lasher Garuli think outside the box, because at the moment it's, I don't want to use the word simple, but he knows what he's doing. He knows what he's doing, he knows what he has to do to see through the 3 minutes of the round, not take too much punishment and land just enough himself to chalk up that round.
I mean, for me, and whether you agree or not, I think Liam Dillon's done some great work. He's stormed forward, he's landed some eye-catching shots. But Garuli, he just seems to be nicking the rounds for me. But this is what's coming up when the clock strikes 7 p.m. British Summer Time, live on DAZN. Taylor Bevan kicks off the card, and then Adam Alani in his 2nd fight gets straight to business. He was meant to be out a couple of times before this, but the opportunities didn't come to fruition. And then a fight which Oscar's been speaking about ringside, Lyndon Arthur versus Louis Edmondson. And then the Nuki Bomb versus Goldsmith is the co-main event before Ryan Garner walks out at his beloved St Mary's here in Southampton. And this is the penultimate round of this contest. Garuli does that well. He'll jab and either go to the left or the right, and then he'll throw the right hand and then find himself a nice bit of space while he just works out his next form of attack.
Yeah, circling to the left there, then landing that right and just shifting to the right.
I wonder how much of a problem the sun's been for the fighters this evening. Because there's been moments where you've seen the sun in their eyes, and that ain't helpful, is it?
Yeah, it's a great point. I mean, it's just about to set below the roof, I think, over the west side of the stadium. But, I mean, it's been a problem for me at times, and I haven't had to throw or avoid any punches tonight, Darren, so...
Not yet, anyway. Getting Garuli to stay where you want him to stay is hard work. Dillon's had a bit of success with that for 3 or 4 seconds, but then he's off, he's gone. He finds his safe space, he finds the place where he's comfortable, and the boxes in the way that he wants to box. He's a tricky customer.
I think one thing we have to place real credit on is the fact that to do what Garuli does for an extended period of time is really mentally tough. You've got to be locked in every second. You talk about the safe spaces, you know, a fighter wants to find in the ring. He has to find where he feels safe and be aware that when a Liam Dillon attack is coming, and they come quite often, he has to do the same again. You have to be really switched on for pretty much every nanosecond of a fight. And Garuli's been like that today.
Little feints from Garuli, time and time again, followed by a whipping 1-2. Doesn't faze Dillon. Forwards, forwards, forwards. That's the only way he knows to go. And that was most certainly a slip or a wrestle, if you like, rather than a knockdown.
You can hear the Liam Dillon corner saying, straight on him, you've got to suffocate him. 25 seconds left in this round.
That's exactly what he needs to do, isn't it? Easier said than done, though, right?
Yeah, easier said than done when you've got a man like Garuli gliding around the ring, popping off his jab. I wonder if the clapper's going to bring on maybe a mini onslaught. It did as such, but just so swift and glides over to the other side of the ring. There's a little bit of sweat from both the fighters pours down on us in the microphone. 1 round to go with the prelims.
I wonder how Garuli will be as he goes up the levels, if you like. And listen, Liam Dillon is a former British champion, Southern Area champion, English champion. He's a good level operator. But I wonder how Garuli's going to do as he goes up the levels and fights people who are better than Liam Dillon. It'll be interesting to watch, won't it?
Yeah, absolutely. There'll be some real interesting stylistic matchups. We look at the stylistic difference here between Liam Dillon, who's a real hunter of a fighter, and Garuli, who likes to invite pressure, pop the jab off, 1-2, and then glide his way around to the side of the ring. Stylistically, there'll be some real interesting matchups you can make involving Garuli. It's also interesting to see where we'll go from here, right? 4 fights in, all all fighters with winning records. I'm sure that's not going to change going into fights 5, 6, and 7. Really interesting to see how we'll be matched in the remainder of 2026.
Well, I'm sure we'll see plenty more of him, but this is the final round. Hats off to both men. And the sun has just dipped below the stands here in Southampton. And the stadium all of a sudden feels nice and cool.
Just as we're about to finish.
Lovely timing, but I'm sure a bit of a relief for the fighters as well. Good pressure from Dillon. Suffocate him. That has been the messaging from the corner as he lands a left hook on the right glove of Garuli. Lovely right hand there by Liam Dillon, and he looks at his corner and punches his hands together. Garuli smiles and looks at the referee, and I guess he's just got to let him have it now. 2 minutes to go. The final round. Can he do it? Can he suffocate him long enough? Are the legs there of Lasha Garuli as he lands yet another right hand over the top? And he cannot let him off the hook for a single moment, can he, Oscar?
No, this is his chance. Liam Dillon, he's put him on the deck, and now he needs to hunt. Every second is valuable here that Garuli can almost waste, but he is hurt, and the corner are shouting it too. You can see it. The legs are a bit unsteady. He's not moving with that same guile. Lands a good right hand and clinches Garuli, but there's something in this for Liam Dillon, but there's only 90 seconds left of the fight.
And we come back to the same problem. It's all about getting Lasha Garuli to stay in the same place for the time which you need him there. As Dillon lands a right hook to the body, but then gets pinged with the left jab from Garuli. And Dillon shakes his head as he stalks his man and chases him around the ring. Garuli going left and right, lands a nice right hand as he steps off to the right once again. And the eyes at ringside are well and truly transfixed on the ring for the final 1 minute of this 8-round contest. It was a beautiful right hand from Liam Dillon.
He needs to cut the ring off. And Liam Dillon pin Garuli to the corner.
The corner team of Liam Dillon are absolutely convinced that Garuli is hurt, and they want their man to just storm forward and try and get this job done. What a win it would be if he could do it. But Garuli's feet look like they are still there because he's moving and dancing around on him, making Dillon chase him around the ring as we go into the last 15 seconds. Time is running out. And this is good defensive work from Lasha Garuli, who just needs to do more of the same, and surely he will hear the sound of the final bell, and there it is. He nearly had him, but not quite enough.
Well, it livened the fight up a little bit, didn't it, in the final round, but just too clever on his feet, Lasha Garuli, right at the end. But credit to Liam Dillon, he did not stop, even in the last 5 seconds over those 8 rounds. He was still there, still coming. Fair play to both men. What a brilliant way to wrap up a brilliant prelims.
But Thomas Triber just getting the final scorecard from the referee.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 8 rounds of boxing, our referee, Bernard Oyet, scores it 76-75 for your winner, Lasha Guruli.
Well, congratulations to Lasha Guruli. That brings the prelims to end. The main broadcast starts live on DAZN right now.
Saturday Fight Night on DAZN, brought to you by That Prize Guy.
Rover, here, come here.
Oh. I'll be right back.
Good, Rover, come on, sit. Okay, let's go home. Rover, stop. Rover, what are you doing? Rover, will you stop that? Rover, are you crazy? Oh, you stupid dog.
Sorry, where were we?
You crazy dog.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Royal Marines don't fear the cold. We embrace it. Once you conquer the cold, obstacles become opportunities. And the harshest environments on Earth become your home. And when that happens, there's nowhere left for the enemy to hide. Royal Marines Commando, it's a state of mind.
Introducing the casino you love to hate, Mr. Q.
Don't miss the biggest nights in MMA.
We are now set for the main event. Ronaldo with the shot. One of the greats. Champions of the world.
There's all to play for, which is so exciting. These teams have to come in here and give it their all.
Have a real nice tempo. Goes baseline, watch out.
Oh, my! Oh, baby! All the way down the runway for a big-time throwdown.